Continue this. Last week we kinda ended up with, well, a pretty long chapter, all things considered. And at the end of it, Alice showed up being all spooky and weird, so, guess we'll see what up with that. Might be a little bit shorter this time around, just depends on how long this first chapter is going to be. Because the last one was also rather long, so if this is going to be another 2-hour chapter, I might just leave it at that. Because I don't know how much longer the chapter after that is going to be. Then again, it might also be a 15-minute chapter, so I don't know. Can't really say that much. But alrighty then. Stop on the right one? Yeah. Also, I wonder how long it's going to take for the authorities to come to this abandoned amusement park. Because the house imploding isn't really nothing, so, well, let's see. To check if the audio is fine again. It's the same classical piano music again. Readings are rather low. I'm going to need to do this every time. Second chat. Like, I don't think I've changed anything, so I don't get why the audio is so low again. The melodies start an emotion like nostalgia within them. Something once familiar but now lost to this world. They believed, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that it would play for all eternity. From opening stanza to a final coda. It was a mysterious siren song, merry yet longing, that heralded in a return from dreams to reality. The night shook. A song was spun. Now their lost paradise was unearthed. Abandoned dreams, forsaken idols. The owl responded to the cry of the blue cat. The name of that bell was Diddle Dill, Banquet of Night. All fables made possible, all marvels made real. By the magecraft of Alice Koenji, more magical than magic itself. Do tell me if the game's audio is too low, chat. No, it does sound rather low again. Like, I haven't changed anything on these settings here, so I don't know why. How selfish of you. Is that something you really decide on yourself, Ergo? Alice had perched atop her clock tower like a black bird of ill omen. Well, she's hovering above it, but sure. She smoothed with the ruffles of her skirt as if she were preening. Alice. There was a tension in Ergo's voice as she lifted her hat. The calm atmosphere from a moment prior had long been shooed away by Alice's gaze. That girl, I've seen her before somehow. Sojo researches her hazy memory. He could not clearly make out his face at a distance, but he was sure he had seen her around town a number of times. Where and when eluded him, however, as the tension in the air kept him from connecting all the dots. It does feel really low again. Why? Is this just going to happen every time I stream this, that the audio is going to go lower for no good reason? That's so much again. Well, if this isn't a turn of events, I didn't know you cared so much, Alice. I thought you were going to leave tonight to me. Also, I have to say that she looks good in that outfit. I'm pretty sure I said it last week already. Ergo ready to go and took his half step forward. Unconsciously, from an objective standpoint, it almost looked as though she were protecting the figure beside her. Alice's silence grew even heavier, ever heavier. Her eyes fixed on the ground below her were devoid of emotion. An indescribable sense of dread and pressure laid claim over the plaza. A bell? If he strained his ears, he could make out the faint ringing of a bell echoing in the distance. The rippling sound wave seemed, unbelievably, to be emanating from under the ground.
Hey,
Awazaki, that girl, she's...
黙ってて。
Quiet. Soju stepped back as trying to stay out of the way. It was as though he had been told to go to hell. For the crime of asking the girl was Aoko's friend.
そうね。仲間思いに当てはまるかは微妙だけど、良くない予感がしたから様子を見に来ただけ。
I wouldn't go as far as to say I can't. I simply had a feeling something might be wrong and I came to check.
別にあなたの仕事を疑ったわけじゃないわ。
It's not as though I had any doubts regarding your ability to handle the job.
それはどうも。どうせならもう少し早くその良くない予感とやらに気づいてほしかったけど。
Much appreciated. It would have been nice if you thought to contact him a bit earlier, though.
でもま、ご覧の通り自己解決したの。
Using earphones, you need to load it for you? I mean, as long as I'm talking over it, it is fine. So, as you can see, things seem to have worked themselves out.
夜も遅いし、さっさと帰っていいわよ、アリス。私の仕事っぷりを疑うわけじゃないんでしょ？
It's late, so don't let me keep you, Alice. Says you have no doubts about my ability, right? The eyes looked from one another. Alice's stare was uncomfortably cold. Aoko's was bold, daring Alice to air her complaints.
いえ、気が変わったわ。
I think I've changed my mind.
せっかくだし二人で帰りましょう。その方があなたらしいわ。帰りしな、人形の話でも聞かせてちょうだい。
I'm here now, so why don't the two of us go home? It's more your style anyway, Aoko. You can tell me all about your adventures with the puppet on the way.
らしいって何よ、らしいって。
Huh, what's that supposed to mean?
いいから帰れ帰れ、ぐうたらアリス。部屋に閉じこもって役に立たないムクドリでも作ってろっての。
Go home, Alice. Shut yourself in your room and make some more of your worthless birds. Oi. I take offense to that. A disappointed sigh escaped Alice's delicate lips. It seemed that the black-clad girl was more astonished than angry.
青子、口にしたくないけど、本気？
Aoko, I hate to say this, but seriously? Quietly, Alice questioned her roommate for nearly 2 years.
呆れた。二人で秘密を守ると言ったのに。
You surprised me. Did you not say we would protect our secret together?
まだ半端にそっち側なの？それとも情でも移った？
Are you still having trouble letting go of the other side? Where's compassion taking hold of you?
別に情っていうより私の気分。
Not at all. This isn't compassion. I just felt like doing it this way.
だいたい方針なんてその場その場で変わるもんでしょ。気分ならなおさらよ。
Hello there. No plans to voice contact with the enemy, you know that. The same goes for my mood.
そっちこそ一度した約束は絶対守るなんて時代遅れなんじゃない？
Besides, who goes out of her way to keep a promise she made forever ago? A little old-fashioned, if you ask me. The proverbial knives were thrown out now. No quarter was given or taken. Sadly, that partnership was one of convenience, and not to reach the level of mutual understanding. The version of friendship was both delicate and unique. Whether a conflict of opinion arose, each would refuse to virtue it until the other crumbled. Neither was concerned for the other's plight, and at least for now, it was how they liked it.
そうね。今の暴言はあなたらしいとは思うけど。
You know, I've come to accept stupid outbursts like that from you now. Oh. What now? Once again, she let out a sigh, even larger than the one before.
言い争いは後にしましょう。
Why don't we save this argument for later?
そこの彼をいなかったことにするのは
I can make him
私だ
disappear
け
on
で
my
十
own.
分だし。
Finally, she struck straight to the point. As if making to remove a chess piece, Alice lifted a slanted finger. Even the simple action seemed mysterious to Sojiro, the same boy who had been hunted by his classmate Aoko Aozaki and borne witness to an automaton. Aoko's violence and an old animated doll. Though perhaps far beyond the realm of logic, both these things were derived from reality. As surprised as he had been, there was no need to think of them as total mysteries. However, when the thing appeared out of thin air from a seemingly unrelated gesture, he had no word for it besides mysterious. Soju stood motionless, captivated by the stage performer's magic trick, as the girl single-finger magecraft into an attack directed at him. I cast Fork. A blue light from the side to repel it, annihilating it without a trace.
やば。
Oh, crap. Aoko immediately regretted the reflexive shot.
どういうこと？約束を曲げただけじゃなく、ルールまで破るつもり？
What are you doing? You're not satisfied with breaking just our promise, so you must break the rules as well. The already chilled mint with her up pushed not below freezing. She's not getting far. Alice looked calm and collected on the outside, but in reality she was sometimes even more hot-blooded than Aoko. No, I think mine was on the phone or something. This seems especially true when it concerned familiars. Accidentally breaking one would often result in a week of silent treatment. But against someone who maliciously destroyed the things, Alice was prone to retaliate without warning.
あっちゃー。いつかやるとは思ったけど、ついに逆鱗に触れちゃったか。
Whoops! Figured I'd do this someday, but I couldn't have picked a worse time. Aoko sighed to herself. Even she was exasperated by her own stupidity, yet she couldn't help but feel a pang of relief. She did not intend to make any excuses, and she had no regrets. If she had broken the rules, then so had Alice.
青子。
Aoko.
なんていうか。
How do I put it? If anything, it took a load of her mind. Oops, my hand slipped, goddammit. After all, now there's no going back. Aoko never intended to break her own rules. If there was anything for Aoko to regret, it was putting too little power in the shot.
私的に今夜こいつに死なれるのは困るのよ。
I have a problem with this guy dying tonight.
なんで日を改めて殺しに来てくれないアリス。いいでしょ、たった1日ぐらい。
So, can we reschedule the execution? What difference does a day make? To Aoko, it was simply natural to take a pro bono case in defense of an innocent suspect.
それは市場？
Is this personal?
悪い？一宿一般の恩義って割と大事にしてるの、私。
So what if it is? You know that paying back my debts is pretty important to me. Aoko, you're in no state to go into another fight right now, you know?
私との協定より。
More important than our agreement?
ええ、時と場合によっては。
Sure, depending on the time and place. Soju's human rights had not yet entered the argument. The girls were busy pouring oil in each other's flames. The girl clad in black was the first one to move, or rather, to erupt.
そう。よくわかったわ、青子。
I see. I understand how you feel, Aoko.
私は彼をここで殺す。
But I'm going to have to kill him here.
あなたは彼をここだけ生かす。
I believe that you would let him live.
つまり、私と戦う。ということでいい？
Shall I take it to mean you're ready to fight me for it?
そんなのいいわけないじゃない。
You know damn well I'd rather not. Aoko bit back to retort. She was very familiar with Alice's magecraft. I knew painfully well how many mystics were hidden in Alice's thin body. The odds of victory were essentially non-existent. And once the first shot had been fired, Alice Corntree was without mercy. Whether facing a roommate or a friend, a most beloved family member or a stranger. Once Alice began to fight as a witch, she became a heartless, unflappable monster. Unflappable certainly is a word choice there. Aoko advanced another half step forward as to encourage herself. It was too late to back down now, the situation was no longer a trivial quarrel over a witness. The bedrock of the so-called friendship had nothing to do with their individual abilities, and everything to do with it being equals in will. That is why, in order to stay true to herself, Aoko had no room for compromise or deception.
もちろんあんたを殺すことになってもそこのバカは生かしきるわ。それに
Of course I'm going to make sure this idiot lives, even if it means killing you. And besides, the magic circuits howled as they kicked into gear. Her body, which had been mostly dormant during the battle with the puppet, ignited, preparing to demonstrate its true worth.
それにどのみち最後には殺し合う仲でしょ、私たち。
We were going to end up killing each other in the end anyway. Her courage overpowered any fear shit for her opponent. embody a magic circus to become like the barrel of a gun, I'll provide a magic bullet. It was an exceedingly basic magecraft formula. There was no nature interference, no creating of wind, parting of water, no hastening of decay. It was simply the process of converting the imaginary activity known as magical energy into something real before releasing it as heat. This Oko's destructive power was equal to a supply of magical energy. The magic bullets it used against Soju are among the most basic single action magecraft that did not require an incantation. At her present ability, Aoko's main mode of attack, Magic Bullet, could be fired at 3 levels of power. These were at the 2nd level. This required a double action magecraft, a casting through an activation of a press combined with a simplified incantation. However, without blinking, Alice dispersed a shot at Aoko and mustered all of his spirit to fire. Aoko turned into frustration. The swift sneak attack that used a simplified incantation would not be enough to break Alice's guard.
相変わらずお堅いこと。そのから一段と独りよがりになってるんじゃない？
As stiff as ever, I see. Don't you think that Shell is making complacent? Aoko provoked Alice in order to disguise her own lack of composure. Somehow Alice seemed delighted by Aoko's bravado.
売り言葉に買い言葉というやつね。
I suppose this is what they call fighting words.
こういう勢いだけのきっかけは初めてだけど。
I've never fought to the death for such a trivial reason.
驚いたわ。こんなくだらない理由でもその気になるものなのね。人間。
I'm really shocked. Humans are such conceited creatures. Alice giggled. Smiling with heartfelt amazement, Alice gestured her left hand toward the earth. Let me fix that. Countless utensils shot out from underneath the cobblestone paving the plaza.
しずきくん、後ろに飛んで。
Suzuki, get back. She grabbed his hand as she shouted, jumping backwards before he even had the chance to respond. As they hit wheels of the road, the utensils that had suddenly appeared from the ground gave chase. As the barrier of spears grew around him, Aoko and Soju put some distance between themselves and the clock tower.
これで終わり？
Is that all I've got? Just under 30 feet stood between them and Alice. The lethal weapons that had crumbled to stone beneath them fell short of how Aoko had dissipated. They now encircled the clock tower, making the scene like the burning of a witch at the stake.
普通逆じゃない？ここは私たちを逃がさないよう槍で周りを囲むものでしょ。
Isn't this backwards? You'd expect the spears to try and stop us from escaping. The path behind them is safe. If they wanted, you could try to make a break for the main gate and escape.
いいのアリス。悪いけど
Why is he making the
逃げられるなら
face?
逃
Looks
げ
like
る
he just ate a lemon.
私。
Are you sure about this, Alice? Sorry, but if you're going to let me escape, then I'm not going to pass the chance up. If she could just make it back to town, it would be Aoko's way. All she wanted to do was let Sojo get away for the night, so if she could get him back to the city, it would be, for the most part, mission accomplished.
Huh?
Or so she had thought. Without even offering a glance at the targets below, Alice carefully and lovingly pulled out a bottle from her pocket.
緑のフラスコ？
A green flask?
あれって確か。やば！とにかくファイヤー！
Wait, that's... damn it, fire! The shot was deflected with ease. Gone was Aoko's early bravado. It was only natural. Aoko had indeed grown as a mage. Over the last 2 years of study, his studies had progressed well. And she more or less gotten a grasp of her roommate tendencies and abilities. Now, how do I hide this? This had made her conceited enough to believe that under favorable circumstances she'd be able to show Alice a thing or two in the fight. That's pretty menacing. Alice uncorked a magical bowl. A gentle breeze caressed her cheek. The little fled as a new player stepped onto the stage. But for a while we did enter. The sound of footsteps and nostalgic parade approached. Spooky music kicking in too. Maybe making me a little bit too fleshy now. No way. Might emerge. It's a miracle that Aoko Ozaki and the Prince of Mage have never witnessed. The dead came to life. The inanimate awakened. The woods were enveloped by the mist. Fire-breathing lizards lurked in the swamps. Griffiths made merry at midnight. Alice scorned his slender fingers and transfigured the entirety of the park as if gently stroking the back of an elderly cat.
いいわ。ごっこ遊びをしましょう。青子。
Very well. Let us play pretend, Aoko. Not everyone knows you there. For one night, the wasteland of dashed hopes and dreams was restored to its former glory. It was an immortal monster ready to devour reality. A dark fairy tale that once unleashed would never let its prey escape.
逃げられるものなら逃げてみせて。
Run if you dare.
どこまで行けるかわからないけど、この夜を越えることができたのなら、あなたの勝ちにしてあげる。
I don't believe he'll get far, but if he can survive the night, I'll concede his round to you. Her declaration marked the start of a desperate battle. The witch in black laughed at the friend. A musical mirth filled with affection, sadness, and an innocent delight. Faded glory returned to Ketsyland. The neon glow of innumerable lights illuminated the night. Speakers filled the air with the sound of vinyl music. Merry-go-rounds, small and large, rolled around and around. All in all, it made for a mind-bending spectacle. It was certainly possible to power the facilities by transmuting magical energy into electricity via alchemy. That said, simply supporting the park with electricity would not have brought back to life which was broken. The young woman did this not by mixing chemicals into a compound, but by melting down divine providence into a witch's brew.
まずいわね。アリスのプロイは何個か見てきたけど、今回のは桁が違う。
This is bad. I've seen her ploys, and this one is something completely new.
セット。
I'm connecting. Stifling her anxiety, Aoko fired upon the crest on the right arm. If magic circuits were a mage's engine, then the crest was software that assisted their magecraft. For the fledgling mage Aoko, this was a trump card. All she had to do was supply magical energy to her crest-based formula. It may not have been the strongest magecraft, but it was hers, proof that she was a successor of the Aozaki lineage.
講師2層直流数も
Execute double layer, direct current to crest. The button of her crest shifted to execute the formula, which then connected it to her magic circuits. Stop already. Great going here. The process resembled trains chasing rails, a puzzle involving dozens of circuits. She constructed it as swiftly as possible without sacrificing the quality of its construction. Instant magecraft cast without an incantation would not be enough to reach Alice Kawanji. Aoko had gauged the strength of Alice's defense with her initial shots. She would dial up the power 5 times the next time, driving 20 tons of force into her target. Alice had the protection of the thick, hanging fog and a dense barrier around her. However, this attack would be more than enough to pierce through both. If Aoko struck home, it would carve Alice's chest and end the fight. It would cave in Alice's chest and end the fight. At most, it would at least knock Alice down from her position atop the clock tower.
そろそろいいかな?
Hey, I have a question. How about you say nothing and just let things happen? Hello there, Meep. Not sure why the music is so goddamn loud. Wait, why is it loud? Oh, am I looking at the wrong thing here? Oh no. I have two sliders for this thing is the problem. I guess I've been adjusting the wrong slider here. God damn it. Well, hello there, Meep. Good that you said that. It's indeed this one that I need. This bothers me. This bothers me. Was it really that loud? As always, there was one guy who spoiled the deadly tension, pulling Oka out of killer mode. Soju had been looking back and forth between Oka and Alice in confusion.
それでどういう話になったんだ？
And why is he talking so loudly? What's going on now? He said it like he might ask for directions at the train station. Normally she would have lashed out in response, but it has a exactly serious tone shocked rather than angered her.
信じられない。慣れてきた。私。
Yeah, kinda. God damn it. I've been streaming for 20 minutes on the wrong with the wrong slider up. That's enough to annoy me. It's enough to annoy me greatly. Unbelievable, is this my life now? Naoko swallowed back a sigh and returned to focus to activating her quest.
交渉は決裂。ちょっと怒らせすぎた。
I said rather loud and negotiations have broken down. I pissed her off a bit too much.
あの子から見れば、まあいい機会だし、遊園地ごと私を亡き者にしようって腹ね。
From my perspective, this is a good chance to kill me off, along with the entire theme park, I guess. Soju tilted his head as if begging for a simpler explanation.
私、割とあの子に恨まれてるから。捕まったが最後、どんな風に殺されるか想像すらできないわ。
She's really got it in for me. I can't even imagine what sort of death she has in store if she catches me.
要するに、あんたも私もあの子をどうにかしないと生きて帰れないってことよ。
What I'm saying is, neither of us is getting out of this alive unless we do something about her.
そんなとばっちりだ。
So, you're saying I could drag into your quarrel?
まあ、そういうことになるかもね。
Pretty much. As Soju protested in a tone wholly inappropriate for the situation, Aoko let out another blast rip from her right arm. She was not aiming at Soju though. A little earlier in the day, and Aoko would have been happy to do exactly that, but now her attention was focused on the girl in black atop the clock tower. Aoko's mind struggled to catch up to her astonishment. She had fired the strongest, fastest magic bullet she had the ability to conjure, and Alice blocked it. Not much was to be expected. When Alice had her mind to defending herself, such an attack was child's play. But what had just happened? Something Aoko had never seen before leapt to Alice's defense. A team of horses, a plague of locusts. No, those existed in the real world, unlike what Aoko had just witnessed. Normal creatures would not form like a spontaneous cloud of fog and then dissipate as quickly into the night sky. And the music is dying down again. What? Impossible things moved in impossible ways. Alice was not even supplying them with any power source. Those things never needed power in the first place. Those broken and discarded things did not follow the rules of mankind. This was an invasion of fairy tales. Compared to them, the automaton looked merciful. Oh, that's a manic-looking horse. Autonomous puppets were products of magecraft, but even then they behaved as puppets should. These newly animated things, however, were none of the sort. Empty vessels became living creatures. Dummies warped into malformed beings. There was a fog so dense with magical energy it visibly spread to all corners of the park, bringing with it a monstrous welcoming party that easily numbered over 100,000. Oh, I'm getting 100 from. It easily numbered over 1,000. Spurred on by the shuddering sensation running down her spine, Aoko fired a barrage of single-action magic bullets. Her impulsive attacks scattered futilely. The knights of the merry-go-round soared into the sky. Green, fire-breathing lizards flocked. The bakeries opened their doors once again, and human-sized loaves of fresh breath marched from their ovens as platoons of newly baked soldiers.
Aozaki, 後ろ
Aozaki, behind you. Aoko and Sojiro are completely surrounded. The Ferris wheel creaked as it gently turned. A rickety train car raced about the roller coaster tracks with Kitsy, tears streaming down his face. Why am I struggling right now? Tears streaming down his face aboard. It was a grossly twisted fantasy. The girl in black reigned over the insanity-fueled park. Oh, now we're screwed. Aoko was transfixed by the scene unfolding around her. Then she realized what was happening.
そうだこれは
Oh, I know what it is. Alice had once told her of Mains's familiars. Among them a tree of particular notoriety. One which she recalled being capable of something similar to this. And it was called
プロイキッシャフラットスナーク
Ploy Kickshaw Flat Snark.
青崎だから後ろ
Seriously, Aozaki, behind you! Holes. Struck by Aoko's bullets, the creatures exploded into splinters. It was clear Aoko shot by becoming more powerful, but it was also the case that it was less robust than your average automata.
しずきくんこっち
Shizuki, this way. Aoko turned away from the clock tower, rubbed his hand and began to run.
青崎
Oh, wait, Aozaki.
ごめんこれ無理
Sorry, no
逃
time.
げるわよ
We're running.
逃げるってどこに
Running to where?
どこってとにかく行けるところまで
It doesn't matter. Anywhere. She shouted as though trying to persuade herself as she valiantly cleared a path. Aoko's magic bullets flew like a scream. Blowing away the creatures that blocked or simply gathered around the path, she made a hole for them to escape through. But you're shooting bread. Oh. Magical bullets exploded like blue fireworks. Aoko and Sojiro ran down a bumpy brick road. Their bond, fortune in need of battle, and far beyond mutual convenience. They headed for the park's exit at full speed without exchanging a word or a look. The witness only extended as far as the park border, so they would be safe as long as they made it outside. But speaking in pure numbers, the difference in strength was 2 versus an army. Or rather, 1 versus an army. Sojiro was hardly useful in this situation, and manpower wasn't really the issue here, since we were facing puppets.
さっきの大丈夫上からこうでっかいハサミが落ちてきたけど
You okay? This was some giant pincers back there. Aoko shouted as she blasted away the monsters that stood in the path. There was no time to stop for breath or even to look back.
なんとかギリギリ
Yeah, just barely. As Sojiro pursued, his voice stewed and naturally became shrill. 5 minutes earlier, he had broken out of the siege at the plaza surprisingly fast. It seemed that the residents were awakening different case by case, with larger creatures taking additional time.
ラッキー朝に弱いタイプばっかと見た
Well, lucky they're not the morning type. Aoko joked as she mowed down a small fry that popped up. But then... Eh? Without warning, something outrageous extended its way from above them. Oh, this is what you meant with fences. It was the claws of a 60-foot lobster adorning the roof of a seafood restaurant. Its pincers went like a guillotine. As Aoko and Sojiro got across the front of the restaurant, the Red King pressed at a tremendous speed, keen on splitting him in two.
しずきくん U ターンこっちはダメ
Why is this presented as a flashback, though? It's just kind of weird, but sure. Shizuki, hard about it. Hard about. This way's no good. The gate is just on the other side of the restaurant, but they had to take the long way around in order to lose the giant lobster snapping at their heels. Waiting along the detour had been a horde of monsters, too many to count.
なんとかギリギリ
Yeah, just barely. Sergio called out in response, recalling how he now avoided his head being severed clean from his body.
手前うわなんだあれ焼きたてか
In front of us! What the heck are those? Are they freshly baked?
そうみたいね。要するに下級兵士よ。
Looks like it. In other words, they're the kind of fodder. Aoko halted the sprint and set across into full operation.
7、6、5メートル。あの程度ならスナップだけで事足りる。
Range 7, 6, 5 yards? At this distance, Snap will take him down. Sliding along the brick path, she branched her right arm. She loosens the shower of magic bullets. Snap has a single action spell that favored rate of fire over power, and it mowed down the monsters with satisfying pops.
青崎そっちも
Aozaki, more over there.
了解。
Roger that. I thought she still had like 60 shots remaining, like earlier in the night. Like she still has a little firepower left, I guess. Blue explosions bloomed along the lamplit promenade. Aoko's curtain of fire fanned out. It was a marvelous Starmine fireworks show. The toy Bratman turned into charcoal.
いける。数でこそ押されてるけど、この状態が続くなら逃げ切れ。
We can do this. They got us overpowered in numbers, but at this rate we'll be able to get out of here.
しずきくん、そっちは。
Shizuki, how's it look over there?
いない空いてるここからなら入り口の東側に出られるはずだ
Looks clear to me. We should be able to approach the access from the east. It's not that easy, is it? With a magical barrage that would leave an average spellcaster blue in the face, the novice mage broke through the siege. Meanwhile, a single bird keenly watched over everything in falls. Hi, Chad, at me. Well, I'm not blue, but... I guess you want me to make bird noises now. The moment the blue bird descended into its master field of vision, it made his high-pitched call. The girl listened expressionless to the report.
構わないわ。予想通りよ。
No matter, everything is going as expected.
撃つこと、壊すことしか脳がなくても、青子の魔力の使い方は波じゃないから。急増の使い魔じゃ、まだ相手にはならないでしょう。
Even if she only knows to shoot and destroy, the way Aoko uses magical energy is extraordinary. Hastily formed familiars are no match for her. The robin flapped its wings as it tweeted in response. Perhaps it was criticizing Alice for complimenting Aoko. Or perhaps it was jealous of Aoko for being praised by Alice. Alice could barely make sense of its chirping rant. Aoko Aozaki was a novice mage. Until just 2 years ago she had grown up with no background in magecraft. Compared to Alice, who was raised as a witch from birth, Aoko possessed far less talent and experience. There was simply no comparison to be made. In the contest of skill of magecraft, 10 times out of 10 Alice would be declared the victor. However, the narrative changed when it came to battle for life or death. Alice Conchi was not the type of mage suited for combat. Alice Aozaki, on the other hand, was built for it. In a contest... I'm struggling with the word contest. In a contest that pitted magical energy against magical energy, even Alice would concede that Aoko had the upper hand. Aoko's manipulation of magical energy was extraordinary. Is it extraordinary or is it extraordinary? I was kind of wondered about that. The skill of a magic circus was smaller than of Alice, but the rotation speed, durability and output quality, not to mention efficiency, were otherworldly. That was Aoko Aozaki's hallmark. Though she had many failings when she handled sophisticated formula, in just 2 years of practice Aoko could surpass Alice in a simple formula that merely required an energy input. She also had genius instincts and adaptability. Though Aoko was not particularly proficient at executing magecraft, she was terrifyingly fast. If she had been born outside the Aozaki clan, she would have doubtless risen to fame as a competitive sharpshooter.
でも、残念ね。
What a pity. In a straight shootout, Alice did not stand a chance. Alice Conja never bothered to learn primitive magecraft like magic bullets in the first place. She was the classic puppeteer. Her familiar served as her arms and legs to carry out all the particulars of a battle.
制限時間には気づいているわよね、青子。
Clock's ticking, Aoko.
魔力はいくらでも貸してあげるけど、あなたの魔弾はあと半時で値崩れするわ。
I'm happy to lend you all the ammunition you like, but after an hour, those bullets will be worthless. Chirping as if in agreement, Robin took flight. It had been nearly 10 minutes since Alice had made the amusement park into her dominion. To what would the Green Fog give birth next? Aoko and Sojo, who are still running about, would soon come to understand the gravity of the situation. Shizuki, is this the way out?
ああ、その店を曲がれば出口だ。
Yeah, the exit is just around that store. Running non-stop at full speed at the limits, the breath ragged, the duo rounded the corner at a breakneck pace. The amusement park though it was still the infamous Kittyland. It would have taken a high school student 20 minutes to sprint the entire circumference of the park. And though they were now infinitely familiar with the park's geography, why does he keep making his face? It was changing beyond recognition. The transformation was not limited to the park's residents either.
青崎、
Naozaki?
何を
What?
言いたくないんだけど、この遊園地広くなってないか。
I hate to ask, but is it just me or is the park getting bigger? It was. The problem wasn't as mundane as mistaking the location of the exits, nor the strange terrain. No, the park was whopping interesting in upon itself. Even if they ran, its structure was expanding and growing like that of a living creature. Soon the pair noticed that the mob encircling them had grown even stronger. Entrusting her back to Sojiro, Aoko summoned all of her effort just to keep from whining. No one would blame Sojiro from cowering in shock, but for Aoko to do the same, she bore responsibility for causing and then dragging him into this mess. She could not afford to succumb to panic.
大丈夫。落ち着け私。
Pull yourself together, Aoko.
遊園地の果てはある。遠いけど、鉄柵はちゃんと見える。
The park has to end somewhere. It may be far, but the fence is right there.
フラットスナークだって制限なしってわけじゃない。外に逃げるって選択は正しいはず。
Even Flat Snark is at the limits. Getting to the exit is the right choice, I think.
現状、外までは目算で1キロぐらいだけど。
But from here it looks the better part of a mile away. Up until now they have been too concerned with simply running. Their breathing had become labored. If they had to run another mile without rest, they ended up collapsing along the way.
青崎、体大丈夫か？
Aozaki, how are you holding up? Physically, you mean?
え？
What? The whisper from behind pulled Aoko back to reality.
大丈夫だけど、ちょっと一息入れたいわね。
I'm fine, but I need to catch my breath.
賛成。ここから休みなしで外周まで走るのは。
Good idea.
やった方が
We'll never make it outside if we don't rest.
驚いた。しずきくんも外まで走ろう派とは。
You know, I never would have thought that you'd be making a run for it. She let slip a giggle. Far from deliberated by panic, is it deliberated? Deliberated from panic, her comrade in arms had been analyzing the situation and forming an escape plan.
ちょっとだけ建物に逃げ込むのは。
Why don't we all open one of those buildings for a while?
気は進まないけど、それしかないわね。
I don't like it, but there was the best option right now. The Bradman had him completely surrounded. Perhaps this might have been a problem for an average person, but for Aoko breaking through the formation to get to the building would be a cinch. The issue was,
問題はどんな店を選ぶかってこと。
which store to pick. She considered the characteristics of the transforming park, but would pose a danger when what was safe. The most important factor was not the strength or the complexity of the building.
そうだ。選ぶならあの単純さで正しいはず。
Keep it simple, stupid.
しずきくん、あっち。
Shizuki, this way. After routing the monsters, Aoko hopped behind the counter, soon followed by Sojiro.
考 カウンターに隠れてて。
Get behind the counter. Like she was in a Western shootout, Aoko squared off against monsters using the counter as a cover.
ビンゴ、ここならスナーク化しないんだ。
Bingo! Nothing in here can get snarkified. Snarkified, that's a good word. After assessing the current state of the enemy, Aoko sat down under the counter.
あいつらは
What are they doing?
店の周りで地団打踏んでるわ。理由があってね。あいつらはここには入ってこられないのよ。
They're stamping their feet in frustration because they are angry that they can't get in. Hmm? Aoko gave the perplexed Sojiro a grin and took a moment to catch her breath. She heaved a heavy sigh of relief and fatigue.
とりあえずコーヒーブレイクね。ここは遊園地の中でも遊びのない場所だから、あいつらにとっては鬼門なのよ。
We'll take 5 here. This restaurant is the blandest place in the park, which makes it our Achilles heel.
レジスターも調理器具も最近のものだし、擬人化されたマスコットもないし、スナーク化するにはちょい文明犬すぎるってこと。
The registers and utensils are all too modern, and there was no mascot characters. It's just a bit too civilized for Snark to mess with.
スナーク
Snark?
あいつらの名前よ。つけたのは私じゃなくてアリスなのかしらね。あの子の性格的にちょっと想像できないけど、まあとにかくそういう名前。
That's her name, though Alice is the one who came up with it, I think. It doesn't really sound like her, but whatever. That's what they're called. Perhaps now at ease from knowing that they were safe, Sojiro seemed enthralled in their explanation. Aoko could not help but chuckle as Sojiro nodded sagely. It was certain he had no idea what she was talking about. Normally this would have irritated her, but this time she was grateful for the moment of strange sobriety.
それはともかく調子良さそうだな、青崎。
It's good that you seem better, Aozaki. Mistaking a smile for composure, Sojiro broke into a smile himself. It was just another link in the chain of misunderstandings, but there was no need to redress it.
あれ？あなたから見てもわかる？私の魔弾の威力が上がっているの。
Oh, you can tell. Yeah, my magic bullets are getting more powerful.
そりゃミラーハウスで散々追いかけ回されたからな。あの時と同じ動作なのに物騒さが増していれば嫌でもわかる。
Well, you did chase me all around to that house of mirrors while throwing those things at me, so I guess I've become really familiar with them, for better or worse.
でもいいのか？確
Did
か
you just
数
say
に
that,
鍵
Maku?
があるとか
I
言っ
mean,
て
I
ただ
don't
ろ。
mean bullet fire, so it
も
doesn't
う
make
随分撃っ
sense.
ちまったけど、20、30じゃ効かないぞ。
I mean, it is a term that gets used in other things, so it's not exclusive to Doe. Are you sure you're okay, though? I remember you mentioning that you had a limited number of shots, but you fired at least 20 or 30 so far, right?
あんた、時々あれよね。
You know, every now and then you... Hmm? Her opinion of him improved, just a little bit.
なんでもない。
Never mind.
私の魔弾の威力が上がっているのは単純に魔力の濃度の問題。さっきから霧がかかってるでしょ。あれ全部魔力なのよ。弾を撃つための燃料と思って。
My bullets increase in power is a simple matter of the density of the magical energy. You've seen that fog around the park from a bit a moment ago, right? It's all just magical energy. Think of it as fuel for my bullets. Magical energy was divided into two broad categories. First was Art, produced inside the mage's body. Second was Mana, which filled the atmosphere. At the moment the amusement park had turned into a fairy tale land overflowing with mana. Although it meant nothing to the average person, to a mage it was a paradise where spells could be cast as much as one pleased.
じゃあ残り魔力とやらは気にしなくていいのか。
So that means you don't have to worry about how much magic or whatever you have left then.
注意すべきは怪我と体力だけ。
All we need to worry about is the injuries and stamina.
まあ個人的な責任においてはその限りね。
Well, as far as our own lives are concerned, yeah. Sojiro breathed with a sigh of reply. From Sojiro's perspective, more so than the monsters she had mowed down, Aoko was the biggest bully in the playground. He thought mana came from the... Oh, that. I'm not sure if it's entirely changed though. He had been concerned about what would happen with... He had been concerned about what would happen should her magical energy be exhausted, but luckily for him, she was far from surrendering her crown.
頼りにしてくれるのは嬉しいけど、ぬか喜びよ。
It's nice that you trust me and all, but let's not get out of ourselves.
あんな雑魚たちただ動いているだけのガラクタなんだから。
This minions are just walking
ス
garbage.
ナーク本体は当然としてアリスが他の童話の怪物を出してきたら私じゃどうにもならない。
If Ella summons any other fairy tale monsters, let alone the actual Snark making an appearance, there's nothing I'll be able to do.
他の童話の怪物。遊園地をこんな風に変えたやつ以外にまだいるのか？
Other fairy tale monsters? You mean there's other apart from the thing that changed the park?
そうプロイキッシャーって名付けられた私たちでさえ目を背けたくなる反則。
Yes, they're called ploy kickshaws, aberrations that even me mages can stand to look at.
不可能な夢物語をも再現する時代に取り残されたデタラメよ。
They're nonsense lost to time. Used to revive impossible fantasies. Sergio's expression seemed to be calling out of Sergio's expression seemed to be calling her out on her own hypocrisy.
あのね私たちはちゃんと現代に寄り添った魔術師よ。
Hey, most of us have modern standards, you know.
できないこともあるし当たり前のことだけど近代兵器にはかなわない。20世紀まあいろんな戦争の後押しで兵器の進化は私たちを超えちゃったから。
Obviously there are things we can do, and we're no match for modern weapons. The 20th century, well, a bunch of wars helps weapons technology catch up to us.
けどあの子のは違う。どんなに人間の技術が進歩しようと関係ないって怪物なの。
But that girl's a different beast altogether. Mankind's evolution can't hold a flame to her power.
例えばあのブレッドマンいるでしょ。
Take those Bratman, for instance.
あいつには自動拳銃とか効かないわよ。多分意味が分かっていないから。
Something like a machine gun would have no effect on them, probably because guns make no sense to them. Aoko casually gestured outside past the counter.
アリスの使い魔は全てが空想によってこねられた神秘なの。
Alice's familiars are mystics needed from fantasies.
前提からしてありえないこ
Needed,
と
you
だ
got
か
it with
ら
Bratman.
通常の物理法則と折り合いが悪い。空想と現実は両立しないっていうごく当たり前の理由でね。
They're all impossible in the first place, so they don't play as nice with the laws of physics. It shouldn't come as a surprise, since fantasies and reality can't exist together.
なるほど。ブレッドマンってのはあの動く焼きたてパンのことなんだな。
I see, so they're literally walking loaves of bread. Surgery seemed to have ignored the majority of Oka's explanation, and only erected a depart that caught his curiosity.
話を戻すけど
To get back on
あ
topic,
いつらと近代兵器の相性は最悪。ロケット弾でも効果はないわ。意思の疎通秩序の共有ができてないから。
modern elves don't stand a chance against those things. Even rockets would be useless. They aren't part of the same order or shared consciousness as us.
プロイキッシャーにとって
That's why you create
彼
much
らの世
confused
界には
bullets.
存在しないもの意味がわからないものは触れることなく無賛する。
To deploy kickshots, the fairy tale monsters, anything that doesn't exist in their world, anything they don't understand disintegrates before it can even touch them.
彼らに通じるのは同じ神秘を帯びた魔力だけっていうデタラメぶりよ。もう完全に概念空間っていうか概念宇宙っていうか
Only something equally nonsense can touch them, like magical energy infused with the same level of mystics. They exist wholly in their own conceptual space or cosmos.
要するにあいつらは伝承防御っていう特別なルールを持っていて単純に強い力強い魔術じゃ効果は薄いの。元になった童話にちなんだ欠点をつかないと倒せない。
In short, they're protected by a special rule known as folklore defense, meaning that neither pure force nor strong magecraft have much effect. They can be taken down without exploiting the weakness found in their original stories.
ギリシャ神話のアキレスあたり分かりやすい例えなんだけど知ってる？
Are you familiar with the Greek myth of Achilles? It's a good, straightforward example. Sergio shook his head. Oh, Sergio.
無事帰れたら飛び丸あたりに教えてもらって。定番だけどいい話よあれ。
It wouldn't be funny if Achilles himself showed up right now. Of course you won't. If you get out of this alive, have Tobimaru tell you about it. It's a cliche, but it's a good story. Sergio was feeling pretty lost, but he did his best to grasp the situation. He thought that boy Keksha was scary enough to chase Aoko and that puppet from before out of the house barefoot. I mean, that horse in the background is plenty scary, like look at its face. Jesus Christ. Certainly the scene before them was the stuff of nightmares. But Sergio had a different way of thinking.
やっぱり青崎の方が怖くないか。
I think you're more scared of me, Aozaki.
あんた死ぬの？
Do you want to die? Soichiro waved in protest, silently pointing out that she had made a case for him.
あのね、今私たちを取り囲んでるのはおまけに過ぎないの。
Listen to me, the things surrounding us now are a little bit more than
アリ
fodder.
スにとってあのブレッドマンもロブスターもソーセージ屋のミンチマシーンも全部が全部私が撃ってるマダンより価値がない。
As far as Alice is concerned, the Bratman, the Lobster, the Meat Mincer at the sausage place, they're all worth even less than my magic bullets are to me.
いい？あの動くマスコットたちはね、ただのおまけなの。アリスが解放した童話の怪物の一呼吸みたいなものなのよ。
Got it. The moving mascots and all the rest are a sideshow, but nothing more than the breath of the monster she unleashed.
呼吸ってこれが？
These things are just a breath?
私だって考えたくないわよ。
Yeah, crazy, I know.
でもそれが現状。たった一体の童話の怪物だけで私たちは手一杯。
But that's what we're dealing with right now. Just one of those fairy tale monsters is enough to keep us busy.
そういうわけだからアリスがあと一体でも追加したら諦めて。
So if Alice decides to add another, we might as well just give up.
追加ってこれに制限はないのか？
Add another? Isn't there some sort
あ
of
の子が出
limit?
し惜しみしなければまだ何体かストックはあるでしょうけど、まあ成立する条件はあるわね。
If she decides not to be stingy, there's a few more up her sleeve. Though, well, there are conditions to bringing them out.
例えば川がないと目を覚まさない怪物もいる。この遊園地噴水はあるけど川はないでしょ。元になった童話縛りなの、あの子の使い魔は。
Like one monster that won't wake up if there's no river nearby. The park has fountains, sure, but no river, right? The familiars are bound by the underlying stories.
童話ってかけそばとか？
By fairy tale, do you mean like the one about the bowl of soba noodles?
ここに川がないのは不幸中の幸いね。もしあったらもっと直接制圧に向いたやつが出てきてた。
Let me tell you, it's a small mercy there's no river here. Otherwise something made bad with squishing us would have appeared by now. She's just ignoring that, huh? Oh, could continue, completely ignoring Soichiro.
話の続きだけど、
Anyway, as I was saying...
アリスの魔術の基本はマザーグースって知らないか。イギリスの歌で遊び心に富んだメルヘンチックの内容。
is a servant. The foundation of Alice's magecraft is Mother Goose. Right, you wouldn't know that either. Mother Goose was an author of whimsical English nursery rhymes.
ただそっち系のプロイキッシャーは怖くないの。
To be honest, this type of ploy kick show isn't all that
みん
scary.
なそれなりになんとか魔術にも落とし込める範囲だから。
Taking him down with some form of magecraft is totally possible.
聞きたくないんだけど、そっち系じゃないのは？
I'm afraid to ask, but what about the scary kind then?
マザーグースを下地にしたとある創作童話系。
Wait a... Like, it's not like you guys in chat would know, but... Is this supposed to be... a Tsukihime reference in some sort of way? Blue Moon, character that vaguely looks like Arcade? Hell, even the first remake was called something Blue Moon, right? It followed another fairy tale inspired by Mother
あ
Goose.
の子のお母さんが好きでね。こっち系のはどいつもこいつも尋常じゃない。私たちから見ても勘弁してって言いたくなるわ。
Alice's mother was particularly fond of it, and even the single one is bizarre. No mage wants to go up against one of those things.
で、この遊園地を生き返らせたのはこっち系よ。
As it happens, this is exactly what brought this park back to
多
life.
分フラットスナークってやつだと思う。私も聞き流していたから詳しくはわからないけど。
I'm pretty sure it's the one she calls Flat Snark, though I wasn't particularly paying attention, so I'm a little hazy on details. Soju swallowed in discomfort, making up its way in his throat. He really wanted her to explain things a little less vaguely, but something she had just said necessitated further investigation.
待て青崎、あの子の話を聞き流したってなんで？
Wait a second, Ozaki. You meant to tell me you weren't paying attention?
いや、説明してもらったのは随分と前だし、あの頃はアリスの話あんまり信じられなかったのよね。
Well, you know, it was a while back when she explained it all to me, and I didn't really believe anything she had to say around then.
私が素人だと思って大げさに自分の魔術を語ってくれてるな、舐められてるなとか。
I'll just laugh. I thought that she was maybe talking up her own magecraft to a newbie. I thought she wasn't taking me seriously. In truth, if anyone hadn't taken the lesson serious, it was Aoko. She would learn that lesson firsthand soon enough when she experienced just how real Alice's monsters were. She'd also discover how heretical and the minds of witches truly were in the world of magecraft.
その聞き流した内容は
Can you remember anything else about him?
何でも強力な結界を張るプロイだって。
From what I understand, it is a ploy that puts up a powerful abundance
ア
field.
リスが受け継いだプロイは山ほどあるけど、その中でもえりすぐりの一つよ。
Alice inherited a lot of ploys, but this one is one of the finest.
捨てられたもの、忘れられたものを童話的に蘇らせるやつで、今まで誰も破ったことがないとか。
It takes discarded and forgotten things and resurrects them like what happened in fairy tales. Supposedly, no one's ever defeated it.
それでついたあだ名が触れられぬもの。
Oh, and its nickname is The Untouchable.
フラットスナークじゃないのか
So it's not a flat snark or whatever it was.
それもあだ名。とにかく正体がわからないやつばっかりなんで、一つの個体に複数の名前が付けられるの。
That's just a nickname too. Since nobody knows what its real form is, it picked up a few names along the
フ
way.
ラットスナークはその中でも正体不明さはトップランクのデタラメぶりよ。
One of them is Flat Snark, and it ranks high among our older nonsense in terms of how little is known about it.
あなた、ルイス・キャロルのスナーク狩りって本知ってる？
Have you heard of the book Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll?
いやそもそもルイス・キャロルというのは
No, and who is Lewis Carroll?
そっからか。ドジスン教授はそうね、特殊性癖を持った妄想紳士
We're
っ
getting a
てと
book
こ？
summary here.
まあこっちは別にどうでもいいか。人によっては時間の無駄だろうし。
Okay then, let's start from the beginning. Professor Dodgson he was a delusional gentleman with a peculiar disposition. Not that it matters right now. It's a waste of time to explain to some people.
今重要なのは彼が残した著作の方。
What's important is the work he left
スナー
behind.
ク狩りはね、スナークって呼ばれる正体不明の怪物を捕まえようと奔走する冒険家たちの話なの。
The Hunting of the Snark is a book about a band of adventurers who try to capture an unidentified monster known as the Snark.
キャロルらしい皮肉ばっちり、支離滅裂、意味不明、結末不在の本当に困った本で、一行は島で苦しみつつ最終的にはスナークを見つけるものの、見つけたベイカーは唐突に姿を消して終わってしまう。
It's very Carroll, satirical, nonsensical, and cryptic. It doesn't even really have an ending either. Though the party does ultimately find the Snark on its island after much hardship, it ends with the protagonist who found it, the baker, suddenly disappearing.
よくわからないもの探しに奔走する人間の風刺なんだけど、この遊園地において誰がベイカーで何がスナークかは言うまでもないでしょ。
It is a satire about people who run around busily trying to find something they don't understand. But when it comes to the park here, it's pretty clear who the baker is and who the Snark is, right? Aoko elected not to share this, but Flat Snark and his other popular names as well. The Enigmatic Island, the five-dimensional plane. These names were not given to it by Alice, but rather muttered by mages from who the Meisters defeated. In mathematics, Snark is a term used in a graph theory referred to contradictory and impossible planar graphs. A plane proven to be unable to exist in this world was given a name, after an ill-fated existence paradoxical in nature. The fairy tale monster ascribed its name as such hold no form discoverable by man. Aoko also declined mentioning something else. Flat Snark was a fairy tale monster that could grow. It could hide somewhere in an amusement park, continuously exhaling magical energy until the park completely transformed itself into a fantasy land.
ま、脅かしてもしょうがないし。
Well, it's not like there's any point in scaring him.
何か言ったか
Did you say something, Arizaki?
別に。簡単に言って童話世界の再生がフラットスナークの力なの。
Nope, I was just thinking. Flat Snark's power is its ability to bring fairy tale worlds to
こ
life.
の遊園地との相性は抜群でしょうね。何しろ元々が童話を元にした遊び場だから。
When you think about it, the park makes for a perfect backdrop. I mean, it was originally a playground based on fairy tales anyway. If it had been a business district, for example, Flat Snark would have posed far less of a threat. At most, its power would be limited projecting the shadow of a dinosaur into a building's window panes.
あだからここは安全だって
Ah, so that's why it's safe. Hmm? Soju realized that something was wrong with him when he noticed a glutinous liquid dropping onto his back. He looked up at the ceiling. To rise, Matt. Before he had a chance to think, Soju hopped up from the floor.
青崎外だ
Saki, get out, now! Taking the initiative, he jumped from jumping round the counter.
バカ何して
Are you mad? What do you think you're... Trying to stop him from committing an act of suicide, she also came to her feet. Immediately she noticed something coming to life over her head. Oh, that's just Monokuma.
やば
What the... Oh crap. Oh my god, that was close. The gargantuan mouth clamped shut. With no muscle to speak of, the burger joint itself began to transform into one giant monster.
もうなんで天井にピエロの絵なんて描いてんのよあの店
Who the hell paints a giant clown on the ceiling?
普通もっと違うところに労力割かないそんなにピエロが好きなら入り口にでも飾っとけ
Shouldn't he have flexed the creative muscle somewhere else? If they like clowns that much, why didn't he put it at the entrance? God had her grievances as she ran. There was no safe haven left. Moment by moment, the last remnants of civilization were being eroded away by fairy tales. Looked more like a bear than a clown, sure. The amusement park had reached the final stage of snarkification. This stays a great word, chat. It was not just the mascot jackets that had been granted life. Like the burger joint, even the buildings had begun to transform. The roller coaster had made its way down about the park, widened and twisted like a Chinese dragon. Naoko and Soju were stabbed, dumbfounded by the Ferris wheel, which had grown to over 250 feet in height. Lots of red men closed in on them as they offered for tickets. Did you just take a bite out of them?
列整理は間に合ってるっての
I'm telling you, the line is under control. Mobs of trinkets, actual kickshaws, rampaged the park. Whenever a hole was punched in the envelopment, it was instantly filled. It was a battle of iteration with no end in sight. But that was a matter of But it was a matter of course, as there was new fairy tales about limited resources.
なんかどうしようもないぞこいつら増える一方だ
This is hopeless, they just keep coming.
スナーク本体を探して
Look for the Snark's real
童
form.
話の怪物には本体に当たる器物があるのそれさえ壊せば遊園地から出られるはず
The fairy tale monster always has some sort of vessel for its body. If we can just destroy that, we should be able to get out of here.
本体ってどんな
A body? What kind of body? Just blow up the
さっき
merry-go
言っ
round
た
or
でしょ
something.
童話の怪物は現実にないものだって今までいなかったおかしなやつとか現実じゃありえないものそれが本体
I like how you say clown. Hold on. I got you covered. I really need to find a better PNG for Awake though. I already told you, fairy tale monsters can't exist in reality. Anything weird or impossible you've never seen before, that's going to be it.
おかしなやつって例えば
Something weird or impossible, I need an example.
だから
Do I have to spell it out for you?
命のある人形とか空飛ぶゴーカートとか
Living puppets, flying go-kart, you say that as if you're not surrounded by men made of bread. Aoka paused the firing for a moment. After saying this out loud, she realizes how deep that grave was dug. The amusement park was a treasure trove of fairy tale-esque creatures on any given day. Who could say that it was impossible amidst the newly transfigured knickknacks running around?
そっかおかしくないやつなんて一つもないんだ
Damn, everything in here is weird.
この中に紛れ込んでる
It's just hiding in plain sight. Hoping that she was wrong, Aoka bit her bottom lip. Flesnark was the type of ploy that deployed bounded fields. Seeing how it was combining so many familiars, it would not be unusual for its main body to have little or no defenses. Furthermore, it was molded from a story about it being untouchable and unidentifiable. It would be logical to assume it would collapse in on itself shortly after being discovered.
逆に言えば見つければ私たちの勝ち
Which means if we find it, we win.
そんな脆いやつが雑魚に紛れ込む。木の葉を隠すなら森の中って言うけど、
With something so fragile really hide among its minions, they do say that the best place to hide a leaf is in the woods. I'm telling you, it's a fucking horse. I really don't like how that horse looks, Chad. This was closer to the truth than Oko realized. As long as there was the slightest possibility of it being one of Oko's stray bullets, it would not dare to appear in front of them. Its true form is orchestrating the part from somewhere safe.
でもどこかに見えているはず。
I'm sure we've seen it already.
スナークは本の主題だもの。常にページのどこかにいないと主人公の資格がない。
It's the subject of a book named after it. If it's not standing out on every page, it has no right to be the title character. But where? But very simple, if Ferrisville was the safest location in the park, as well as a symbol of its past glory, perhaps.
あの子を捕まえるのは
What if we just try to catch her instead? Her eyes opened wide at the sudden suggestion. While Oko had been trying to come up with a plan to overcome the stalemate, it seemed Sojo had been racking his brain as well. His proposal was a simple one. If they could not find the Snark, they just need to take out its master, Alice. Alice had not moved at all from the clock tower. Even from there, they could make out a figure draped in moonlight.
それは一番ダメ。
That's the worst move we could take.
アリスを殺してもフラットスナークは止まらないし、このトンデモが外に溢れ出すことになる。
Even if he killed her, it wouldn't stop the Snark, and all of its absurdity would just boil over into the outside of the park.
だいたい私じゃあの子を殺せないから。よくて半殺しがいいところ。
Not to mention, I can't even kill her in the first place. At best, I could only get halfway there. A breadman, angered at the insult hurled towards his master, moved to attack and was mercilessly burnt out of a grasp. The two stepped back to back, catching their breath. With no plan to speak and no route of escape, they'd reached rock bottom. Meanwhile, the oddities were forming a circle around their prey, as if they smelled blood in the water. They were to be dragged into a bakery for the oven, minced in the meat grinder at the butcher shop, skewered and paraded around atop the carousel, walked the plank to the 40 pirate ship. After 2 years of slumber, they were eager to welcome their new guest.
一応聞いておきたいんだけど
Something I need to ask you, Ozaki.
何？手短にね。今考え事してるから。
What is it? Keep it snappy, I'm thinking here.
ああ、あの連中が何をしたいか嫌っていうほど伝わってくるんだけど
Okay,
それって
it's
あの子の趣味なのかな
okay. It's painfully clear what these things want to do to us. But what about her? Does she enjoy this?
その疑問はなかったわ。
I doubt it.
連中の人間嫌いは遊園地の怨念とフラットスナークの性格じゃない。基本的にまともなやついないから。アリスの使い魔って。
These things' hatred of humanity come from a deep-seated grudge within the park itself, and maybe even Flat Snark's personality too. Alice is familiar of one big family of freaks.
ああ、でも。
Oh, now that you mention it. Oko was unable to deny that there were some similarities.
それは結構
Oh, Shiva's got that.
それで青崎の考え事って止める方法考えついたのか
Hold on, Jed, I think I need to let it get out of the room. Ted has left the room. Good to know. So did you come up with anything, Ozaki? How do we stop them?
期待させて悪いけどお手上げ。ま、あんたが殺されれば止まるでしょうけど。
Sorry to get your hopes up, but I'm all out of ideas. Oh, but I bet they stopped if you dropped that.
それは嫌だとりあえず逃げよう
No, thank you. Let's just get out of here.
え、しずきくん？
Hey, wait, Shizuki. What if you just knock him out or something? Like fake as that. She blinked in surprise at the sudden turn of events. Sojo had been immediately following her lead, had gripped Oko's hand and pulled her with him into a headlong charge into the swarm of red, in an attempt to break out of the encirclement.
意味わかんなすぎ。
Yeah, you out of your mind?
なんで今の流れでそうなるのよ、あんたは。
How enough do you figure this is what we do next? Oko nonetheless followed Sojo's uncharacteristically gung-ho lead, cursing him all the while. Although he had no chance of breaking through the surrounding wall of enemies with brute force. Naoko regained her bearings and let fly a spray of magic bullets out of Sojiro. They burst through the net and ran as hard as they could. At this point, all that was left to do is what they had planned from the outset, get out of the park. But not before addressing what needed to be addressed.
なんでよ、さっきはあんなに諦めよかったのに。
Where the hell did that come from? Hadn't you already given up back at the House of Mirrors? Naoko could not begin to comprehend Sojiro's reaction.
ミラーハウスの時と今は違うだろ。いいから走れ。
That was then, and this is now. Just run.
違わないわよ。あんたを殺そうとした私も、あんたを殺したいアリスも、理由も結果も同じよ、私たち。
What are you talking about? Alice wants to kill you for the exact same reasons I did. This won't play out any differently. Maybe you should just become a harem lead. Problem solved. Though she wondered what was getting her so worked up. Naoko did not stop. She told herself that the degree of Sojiro's stupidity, charging the Bratman so recklessly, had caused her to lose her cool.
あのね、一緒に逃げてるぐらいで勘違いしないでくれる？言っとくけど私、明日になったらまたあんたを殺しに行くから。死にたくないってんなら、ここで私からも逃げ出したら？
Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I'm going to try to kill you again tomorrow. I will really do it. So if you don't want to die, you should be trying to escape too. Got it?
それはまた今度の話だろう。だいたい青崎に殺されるのならいいけど、あの子に殺されるのは嫌だ。
It's fine if I get killed by you, but not by someone else. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I don't really care if you kill me, but just don't want to be killed by that girl.
だからなんで？
Like I said, why the hell not?
だって顔も知らない。話したことさえない相手だ。
I don't even know what she looks like, nor have I ever spoken to her. What? It was like someone had doused water over a blazing fury. Naoko's anger was snuffed out by the absurd simplicity of his reasoning.
顔も知らないって。
Because you don't know what she looks like. Could it be that Sojiro did not mind being killed by someone as long as he had met him? Naoko grimaced as she followed him. From a spot atop the clock tower, the girl observed the growth of a familiar. Flatsnark. A savior of the discarded. It was a vile, vulgar fairy tale monster who provided those abandoned by fate with a glimmer of hope, before snatching it away. Alice had it under her control, but she was still keen to keep the Snark from expressing his bad habits. After completing a lap around the park that had now reached the size of an entire town, the Robin made a situation report.
そう。外を目指しているの。
So, they're trying to get out. It seemed Oko was prioritizing the safety of the boy. Even if it resulted in missing an entire day, choosing not to capitulate on the decision was very much like her.
青子のことだから、時計台ごと私を焼き払いに来るかと思ったけど。
Ah, that's so bad. I was sure Oko would attempt to burn down the clock tower and me with it. The bluebird cheeped in response. Was it denying its master's portrait of Oko, or agreeing that it was Oko's style to do exactly that? An outsider might have interpreted his interjections either way.
退屈？
Does this bore you? The robin jumped at being addressed so unexpectedly. It chirped and flapped its wings like a flustered servant, frantic to say otherwise.
珍しく気があったわね。
Alice can be a bad person, she's like a little bird familiar, that means she's good. It's rare for us to get along so well.
いいわ。せっかくのゲームだし、もう少しだけ盛り上げましょう。
Okay then, if there's a game she wants, a game she'll get. Let's liven up things a bit, shall we? Carmen pulled out a small object from her pocket. It was a dark grey Easter egg, emanating from the inside was the ticking of a clock. Robin knew to be a ploy keksha with a bad attitude far exceeding Flatsnark's, known to be among the best in one-on-one situations.
いってらっしゃい。称える時間は20分に設定したわ。
Did you find a stepmother in Starlight to also greet people? Go, I've set that stalling time for 20 minutes.
いつも通り。
Break.
控えめに壊れてきて。
Break in that subtle way of yours. And together with the witch's breath, the act filled with praises appeared. Suddenly a strong wind swept through the park. The words "I could have killed them all by myself" floated through the air. It was a disappointment of something enormous that was visible to all, yet overlooked. Aoka and Soju continued their dash towards the boundary, separating the park from the outside. The Curio order stood in their way had reduced in number. The iron fence that separated the two from the outside world was just over 300 yards away. Fortunately, there were no particularly large buildings barring the path. If the Ferris wheel had stood in their way, that would have spelled the end, but thankfully it had to reach its full strength. The only thing that appeared before them were weak oddities that could easily be handled by Ogo's simple
こ
magecraft.
れならなんとか。
At this rate, we just might. She would have said to make it to the fence if only the lungs would allow it. Since Oko was utilizing the ample mana filling the park, her tank of magical energy was nearly full. Moreover, the conduction of her body's circuits was steadily improving to the extent that she would be able to unleash at least one all-out onslaught. Until something unusual was hovering above her field of vision. It's an egg. It was locked onto Soju, hovering 10 feet above him over to one side.
しずきくん、ちょっと。
あ
Suzuki, look.
あ、さっきからついてきてる。
What? That thing? It's been on us for a while. Soju had seemingly noticed it before Oko, as his previous awkward glances towards the sky. In truth, it would have been stranger for him to not notice the thing was particularly glued to him. In terms of its size, the floating object measured about 3 feet in diameter. Tunnels covered its exterior about which a multitude of spinning lights danced about.
卵かな。
Is that an egg? Soju asked, not really sure what to call it.
卵卵って言ったら割れる卵。
An egg? If it's an egg, then it needs a little crack. That's not always what eggs do, but sure. Her bullets bounced off it like it was made of rubber. That trait, the ability to deflect all outside interference, confirmed to Oko that this thing was undoubtedly a ploy kickshaw.
やっぱり外からのルールじゃ壊れないか。
Knew it. I can't break its rules from the
しず
outside.
きくん、あれから絶対に目をそらさないで。
Suzuki, don't even take your eyes off it for even a second.
いい。何があっても見続けること。視界の隅に入れとくだけでいいから。
No matter what happens, keep your eyes locked on it, even if it's just in the corner of your vision.
ああ。
Okay. Oko picked up her pace as she barked orders. The Eggman was set in the wall. He would crack just as the tail spoke of. Nothing anyone could do or say would cause him to fall, but the moment they stopped looking, he would tumble down and break into pieces.
曰く王様の軍隊でも元に戻せない数の破片。
All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put him back together again, so it said. It was a Mother Goose poem, Humpty Dumpty. If Soju was the target, then the moment he averted his gaze, it would tumble and explode.
まあ爆発するかどうかは知らないけど。
Except for the exploding part, who knows what happens when it falls? Either way, it was going to scatter into something troublesome when it fell. Its oval shape, the keel adorning the front, and the writing inscribed upon it, they all made her anxious. If it was an egg, that meant it was going to hatch at some point. Even if he continued to stare, once the time came for whatever was inside to come out, it would have even less ability to conserve their energy.
青崎、早すぎないか。
I was lucky, slow down, would
あ
you?
まり全力で走ると。
If you use up all of your energy now, you'll...
後のことは考えないで。
I don't believe there was anything in Humpty Dumpty about being unobserved through the fall. I don't know, I know the story, but I don't know if it's word by word, so... Forget about what comes
いい
next.
からしずきくんは卵
Just
だけに
focus on
集
watching
中
the
して。
egg. At this critical juncture, Bradman stepped out to join the egg and block the path.
邪魔。
Out of the way. The Bradman were marching forth in a grand battalion. At their high level of firepower, Oko should have been at their level of firepower, Oko should have easily mowed him down, however.
肩焼きかこの。
These have hard crust. Take this. They're getting stale. If Snap failed the job, then it meant it was time for her to put the crust to use. Draw, formula triggered Bull encased in a windfall jacket. A full wind jacket. If her previous shots were the equivalent of a machine gun volley, then this was an artillery shot. I mean, essentially, it's just Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. The hard crust bread that had absorbed the snap without a dent scattered into dozens of tiny pieces at a dwarf's torrent. Whoa. Of course the destruction did not end with just the bread man. Where had once been a brick road was now thoroughly stripped of its pavement. The nearby stalls had been morphed into twisted steel skeletons. It was a spectacle amid Sojiro questioned what the greater obstacle to their escape was. The wall of Bradman, or Oroko's ability to lay waste to things.
ちょっとなんで距離取るのよそこそばにいないと危ないじゃない
Hey, don't wander off. It's dangerous if you don't stick close to me.
ほらもっとこっち
Come on, get closer.
言っとくけどあんたがあいつらに囲まれちゃったらアウトよ私人質とか意味ないタイプだしそもそも区別して撃つとかそういうのできないし
Mord of strikes, you know. If they surround you, you're a goner. You should know, hostages don't mean squat to me, and it's not like I can pick out my targets precisely anyway. Saying just to go alone take this hack. It's made a lot of sense to Sojiro. He had not fully appreciated the part by the hostages, but he got the gist of it.
つまり今はどこであろうと危険なのか
So basically I'm in danger no matter where I stand.
あんたね
You... Offended though she was by his typical naive response, she could not help but be impressed. Sojiro was a straight arrow through and through. His eyes stayed firmly focused on the egg overhead, even amongst the chaos of the melee unfolding before him.
その分なら安心か
I don't know why I worry.
物分かりは悪いけど一度言われたことはきっちり守るあたりあなたのいいところよね
You may not be the sharpest tool, but you sure are good at following orders.
そんなことより青崎俺の気のせいならいいんだけどさっきのパン
Yeah, the bread is getting stale. It's getting hard. One thing, Awazaki, am I imagining it, or does Bradman seem tougher than before?
まあねあいつら少しずつ強くなってきてるわ
No, you aren't imagining that. They're getting stronger.
大量生産が軌道に乗ったんで今度はクオリティアップをテーマにしたのかも
They must have nailed down the mass production process, so they've turned their attention to upping the quality.
しずきくんでもお察しの通りここからは手強くなっていく一方よあのパンたちでさえ個体差が出てきたみたいだし
Use a straight arrow. Here once again we see the obsession with archers in this franchise. The Archer class is really made of archers. Pulls out gun. As you figured out already, you're just going to get tougher as we go. It seems that even those bread guys will have started to develop individuality.
考えたくないけどそのうちジャム塗ったりレタス乗っけたり果ては合体したりして
I hate to think about it, but they might start splitting themselves with jelly, or wearing all the fillings and merging with one another. Though she was joking, her eyes were that serious. Sojiro shuddered at the thought of the situation growing even more dire.
じゃあそのうちミラーハウスの人形ぐらいに怖くなるのかあいつら
So you're saying that those guys are going to become as terrifying as the puppet from the House of Mirror soon?
間違いなくねそこまでレアなパンになったら私も自分だけで手一杯になるところでしずき
Take
く
a
ん
bite out of them.
ああいうのと喧嘩できる
Oh, you can count on it. And I'll have my hands full with bread everywhere. Say, Shizuki, do you think you can handle yourself against one of those? Sojiro shook his head, as if to complete a vision up in his face.
でしょな
No,
ら
it
急
just
ぎま
looks
しょう
like he ate
いろい
lemon
ろ余裕
again.
ないんだから
I didn't think so, so let's get moving. We can't afford to hang around here. Aoka took a quick deep breath and then began to sprint once again. Far in the distance through the fog, the iron fence waited 300 paces away. As long as nothing happened, they would make it there in one piece. Sojiro followed after Oko, holding on to that all too convenient hope. Then the egg exploded. But hope was something ever fleeting. In fact, it lasted not even 300 yards. The edge of the amusement park may have well been the edge of the world. Oh, that's a lot of fences. Dozens of undulating horizons could be seen, cording the sky like a giant cloud or a thick curtain. Or perhaps groaning lips. It was the end of the road, the outer limit of an outrageous and fantastical realm. And yet, Oak found it to be much like the last page of an enormous picture book. The sight turned her mind blank. Oh, this is about as bad as it gets, she thought. The Snark, this island of despair, had at last brought Oko to her knees as she started swelling at the bottom. As she sat at the swelling bottom. The park indeed had an end. Even now Oko and Soju had expected, the fence divided the amusement park from the residential area neighboring it. It had more doubled in height and made it sturdier. Another hurdle was just foreseen even for laying eyes on it. Expecting it to have to be snarkified, Oko had come prepared to demolish an obstacle or two. But this construction before went far beyond a mere wall. It was an ocean that separated the underworld from the mortal one. The iron fence was like a restless, really? The iron fence was like a restless, surging sea. 1 or 2 walls could easily be toppled. Even 10 or 20 could be dealt with one way or another. Between the power left in her body and which felt the park, putting on a brave front was within her power. She could at least mobilize the circus and crest to the point of burnout in the last ditch effort, like some sort of reenacting of the parting of the Red Sea.
でもそれで終わり。
But then that would be it. Even if a path could be opened, she would not have the energy left to walk it. And it was obvious what would become of her afterwards. The residents would hardly forgive her for wreaking such havoc around her park. Like ants drawn to honey, they would swarm the helpless girl and tear her to pieces. Despondent and exhausted, she felt a faint sting of remorse. Escaping the park, looking back on how they had gotten here, Oko recognized that her choices had been her undoing. Under the golden full moon, beams of steel bent and merged like wireframe sculptures. It was only a matter of time before the amusement park itself became one colossal monster. The horde of familiars gathered in the plaza where Alice was had formed an impenetrable blockade around her. Just above the head of the boy beside her, the whispering egg called Scratch Dumpty continued to shuffle with a bit on the surface.
青崎
しずきくん。
The boy's voice snapped Oko out of her trance. If only for a moment. The stark reality of the situation quickly dawned on a novice mage. The sheer hopelessness of it all, as it ripped out and snatched away any will she had to resist.
ゲートに行こう。ここはどうしようもないけど、入り口ならもうちょっとマシだろう。
Let's head for the gate. It's hopeless here, but we might have a chance at the entrance.
フラットスナークだっけ。こいつにもルールがあるって言ったじゃないか。
That flat snark thing. He said it had his own set of rules to follow, right?
なら、これは役割の問題だ。初めから鉄柵は通れない壁だけど、ゲートなら出入り口として機能しているかもしれない。
The fence would have been impossible from the start, but the gate might still work as an entrance and exit. Soju had not given to panic. Oko found herself honestly admiring Soju's ability to analyze Snark's characteristics given the circumstances. Now calm, she still had resolve.
そうね。確かに門はあると思う。
You're right, the gate is a good option.
けど、たどり着くのは難しいわ。一番弱かった焼きたてパンですら、今はもうあれだもの。
But just getting there would be a challenge. Even the weakest enemies, those loaves are becoming hard to deal with.
広場や入り口には、もっと上等なのがたむろしてるだろうし、門だって、あの観覧車以上の怪物かもしれない。確か、大きなキッツィちゃんだったでしょ、正門って。
Plus, the best of familiars are just going to keep gathering at the plaza and at the entrance. I mean, the gate itself might be a monster even worse than the Ferris wheel. It's designed to look like a giant kitsy.
青崎はゲートには行かないのか。
So, you're not going to the front gate?
まあね。それよりこっちの方が現実的だし。
Nah, we have a better chance over here. Oko took another glance at the undulating iron fences. It was too late to achieve their goal of making it out alive. In that case, she decided to prioritize the other promise she had made.
今からこの鉄柵を壊すから、あなたはそこから外に出て。
I'm going to go ahead and break down the fences here. You have to escape once you see an opening.
それで、私の役割はおしまいよ。
And then my job will be done. There were words were few, her tone told the whole story. She was telling him to escape by himself.
信じられない。
It's not
こん
possible.
なの、青崎だけじゃ壊せないだろ。
You can't destroy them by yourself, Aozaki.
私だけならね。でも、今はこの遊園地が味方してる。燃料がこれだけあるんだから、私は重心になるだけでいいんだし。一発でかいのお見舞いしてやるわ。
If I were by myself, you'd be right, but right now the park is actually helping me. With this much fuel, all I need to do is aim and pull the trigger. One good blast should be enough.
それでも1回が限度だから、穴を開けたらあんたには全力で走り抜けてもらうしかないけど。
That said, I'll only be able to do it once, so as soon as I open a hole I need you to run like your life depends on it. She would carve a path through this iron sea of fences, gambling on one final effort and creating incantation to launch the biggest projectile she could manage. As an outsider, Soju couldn't even begin to imagine how much of a burden this would be for her. All he could imagine was a hazy vision of Aoko being left behind in the spark. What would happen to her? Would that girl in black come to save her? Cruel as it was to imagine, he knew she would not. After Aoko had exhausted the very best in order to save him, that girl would not stay her hand. The only way Alice would let Aoko off the hook is if Aoko killed Soju as payment. And so,
20メートルぐらい離れてて
get back about 50 feet.
準備に手間取るけど、その卵の表面が茹で上がるまでには終わらせるから。
It'll take time to cast, but I'll make sure to finish this before the egg gets hard-boiled. It went without saying that this was the only path.
待ってくれ。俺を逃がすって言うけど、それに意味はあるのか、青崎。
Wait, I want to know, is there even a point in letting me go?
ないけど、外に出られたところでアリスから逃げ切れるとは思えないし。
None. Even if you get out, it was no way you'll be able to escape Alice
け
forever.
ど、これぐらいは最後の意地よ。守るって言ったんだから、できるところまでやらないと。
But I'm stubborn to the very end. I said I'd protect you, so damn well I'm going to do my best to keep you alive. Surprised by her more seemingly moral stance, Soju saw Aoko in a new light. Ah, but of course. Soju realized that she was not fighting for his sake, but for the sake of her pride.
そうだったな。
Right, I guess you did say that.
けど、それなら俺だけ逃がすのはらしくないぞ。
But it's not like you to let me go by myself.
何よ、いいから離れてて。
Oh, give me a break. Just move already. Aoko eased off just a bit. She recalled how an hour ago, he had gotten the better of her.
青崎、まだ意地を張れるんなら、他のことをやろう。
Awazaki, if you're still willing to fight, let's do it some other way.
このお化けみたいな鉄柵を壊せるなら、他に壊すべきものがあるはずだ。
If you can destroy the monster of a fence, then let's put your power to better use.
ないわよ。悪いけど、私は目に見えるものしか壊せないの。最後まで形のない希望にすがるとか、考えるのも寒気がする。
There isn't anything else I can do. Sorry, but all I can do is destroy what I can see. Dying for some forlorn hope isn't how I want to go out.
いい？今はフラットスナークなんかより、この壁を壊してあんたを足抜けさせるのが私の現実。私に負える最大限の責任って。
Don't you get it? The fact is, blowing up the sphinx to let you slip out is all I can manage. I can't beat Flat Snark or anything else. It's the least I can do after.
逃げるのか。
So you're going to run from this responsibility too? Aoko was just about to turn her back on him and Soju clutched her hand. His words caused something inside of her to boil with rage. It was as though someone had set her heart on fire. The surprise had pricked open her true feelings and the disappointment she felt towards herself taught from the thought of frozen limbs.
誰が逃げるのはそっちで、逃がしてあげるのはこっちだって言うのよ。甘く見ないで。いざとなったら遊園地ごと爆破してみせるわ。
Why you? Don't get it backward. I'm the one letting you escape, not the other way around. I'll blow the whole damn park if I feel like it, just you watch.
そうか。なら、ここで俺を逃がすのは無駄だな。
Okay, in that case, it'd be wasted to let me escape right now.
その気迫は本命のために取っておこう。それまでは俺も手伝うから。
Save that move for when you really mean it. I'll give you a hand until then.
は？手伝う？それこそ無駄な気遣いよ。
You help me? Talk about a waste of time.
玉木田、いいから逃げろバカ。だいたい走り詰めで息も絶え絶えなやつなんか使えないわよ。
No, you're really pissing me off. Just get out of here, you dimwit. What use if I have four Dins with special powers running himself ragged?
そりゃいい加減ヘトヘトだけど、
I may be pretty exhausted,
そういう青崎なんか、疲れ以上に傷の方が傷んでるだろ。
but you're in worse shape, Aozaki. Just look at yourself. You're tired and injured. Not to mention the injury in her back that Oak had nearly forgotten about. Even now she couldn't ignore the pain the adamantine had inflicted on her spine. With iron will, she managed to push it out of her mind, mostly.
ほら、魔術とか抜きにすれば、まだ俺の方がマシじゃないか。入り口までおぶっていくことぐらいなら、なんとか。
Even without any of that Magecraft stuff, I'm still in better shape than you are. I could probably even carry you all the way to the entrance if I needed to.
できないことは口にしないで。
Don't make promises you can't keep.
もういいから言って。慣れているもの、私は。 でもあなたは違う。こういうの初めてでしょ。
And just go. I'm used to this, and you are not. This is the first time facing this sort of thing, right?
だからいいの。
So it's okay. The fact that they are a team, the fact that she would still have to kill him after all of this. None of the irony was lost on her as she said these words. It didn't matter anymore. Still, Soju didn't let it go over her hand. He gripped it even harder. His expression was the same as ever. Aoko frowned, trying to figure out if he was upset with her.
確かにこういうのは初めてだ。
You're right, this is my first time in this sort of
け
thing.
ど山じゃ危険な目ぐらい合ってる。鹿に襲われたことだってあるんだぞ俺は。
But I've experienced my own fair share of danger in the mountains. I've even been attacked by a deer, you know. Now I know deers are supposed to be really dangerous, but a deer, not a bear. Come on now. As a city girl, she had no idea what it meant to be attacked by a deer, but his determination was apparent enough. True. Looking back on it now, he had maintained his composure throughout it all. A normal person would barely be able to talk us through such panic. Perhaps growing up deep in the mountains, far from civilization, had taught him how to stay calm in the face of so much.
だから信じてくれ。少しでいいから。
So trust me, just a little. He spoke his plain and unadulterated feelings. And he released his hand. There was no lie in him. In fact, he was too honest, so much that she found it hard to believe him. Soju had no reason to go that far. As it stood, Aoko had no future. After confessing this and telling him to escape, why did this boy still offer to help a person like her?
わからない。どうしてそこまでするの？
I don't understand. Why do all this?
私に付き合えばあなたは死ぬのよ。
You're going to die if you stay with
あれ
me.
が最後だからちゃんと考えてよね。あなたはここで逃げるべきよ。
This is it, your last chance. Think it through, you should be running.
それはわかるよ。でも行かない。
I know, but I'm not going anywhere. Soju answered immediately, realizing that Oko was looking for his reason. His level of insight in Soju demanded a round of applause.
そうすると青崎が死んでしまいそうだ。
If I do, you'll die, Aozaki. His words were as original as always.
だからどうしてそこまでするのよあんたは。
But why? Why do it? Why would you go so far for me? She was yelling out of frustration. After thinking for a moment, Soju replied,
そりゃ君が好きだからだ
Oh
ろ。
no. I guess it is because I like you. Simple and to the point. His face seemed to ask why he would even question him so. There was a pause, no more than 2 seconds. His surprise attack had stopped Oko in the tracks. Alice was not the only one who had an ace up his sleeve. That line reached deeper than even Flesnak could so hope to do. Are deer as dangerous as moose, though? I mean, they're up there from what I've heard, but I don't know. I have to see it. All Oko could respond to it was an expression of pure shock. It was a simple, stubborn reason, the strongest kind on earth. Soju Shizuki was indeed incomprehensible. To be able to work on the conditional with someone else who was trying to kill him. But she felt as though he finally grasped the sliver of his true nature. Tobimaro and Yoda's assessments of him were correct, as vexing as it was for her to admit.
バカね。私はあなたのこと嫌いなのに。
Even though I can stand you, you sure were a dip, you know. He laughed at her sour grumbling. At this point, he was used to her insults. The clash of wills ended here. Aoko's blood ran hot from her blazing heart. If he was going to make a face like that, all she could do was try to think of a way to get them both home.
ま、私だって逃げっぱなしは性に合わないし。
Running away isn't really my thing
いい
anyway.
わよ。最後まで粘ってみる。それにしずきくんが付き合ってくれるなら、何かの役には立つでしょ。
Fine, I'll stick it out to the end. And if you're going to stay with me, Suzuki, I'm sure we can find some way for you to help. For you to help. Though her turned out light and there was still a hesitation in her eyes. It was only natural. Aoko had not even a clue how to begin to fight the snark. If only she had been just a bit more skilled or trained just a bit more, there might have been some way to look for it.
我ながら情けない。せめて正体を暴く手がかりでもあればいいんだけど。
I'm better than this. If I only had a way to peel back its true form. Unconsciously, she let her apparition show. Sniveling was pointless. She would just have to figure it out by herself, but...
なんだ正体さえ分かればいいのか
What? That's all we need to figure out?
え？
Aoko gave him a look as if to say, what is that supposed to mean?
いや
Great look, by the way.
だからおかしなものはどれかってことだろ
I mean, you asked me earlier to look for something weird, right? Soju also made a face that suggested that she should have brought it up sooner.
わかるのあんた。
Wait, do you know what it is?
多分いや結構前から気になっていたんだけど
I think so. Well, I've been wondering about it for a while, actually. Soju whispered in her ear quietly as not to be overheard.
Oh.
Ah. It was certainly unexpected, but then again equally obvious, as after explaining the mistake she knew right away that he was correct. At last she had an inkling of Fletsnack's original form, namely... What is it gonna be, chat? Because we don't get to see it until it's time. They strategized for 10 minutes. After deliberating the Snark's true form and figuring out the plan of attack, the two exchanged a nod in acceptance of their roles.
それじゃあここからは別行動ね。
And we'll be splitting up
で
now.
もミラーハウスの時みたいなのは勘弁してよ。この作戦の肝はあなたなんだから。開始1分でドジったら本当に打つ手なしだからね。
Just don't make it a repeat of the blunder in House of Mirrors. You're the crux of this operation. If you bungle the start even a little, there's no coming back from this one. Though she jabbed him for previous failure as a decoy, her voice was right. Aoko's original vigor had returned to her as Soju's discovery of the truth. 10 minutes of not getting murdered, Alice is really putting in the effort, yeah. Meanwhile, Soju was also getting serious in his own way. He took Aoko's warning to heart.
ならいいけど。いい？さっきと立場は反対よ。
Good, but remember that the positions are reversed this
失
time.
敗したら死ぬのは私じゃなくてそっち。もうフォローに回れないから、できるだけ慎重にね。
If we fail, I'm not the one who's going to die. You are. I won't be there to clean up your mess, so watch your step.
分かってる今更ながらやっぱりさっき逃がしてもらえばよかったと思うぐらい慎重だ
I know. After all this, I regret not taking your advice earlier. I'll be careful. Soju nodded, telling her to leave it to him. Though he made it sound like he was holding a grudge, it seemed to him to be the only way of showing her his resolve. Uncle let out a sigh of defeat. Once more, she couldn't figure him out.
ほんと、大バカなんだか大物なんだか。
Seriously, I can't tell if you're a big idiot or a big hero.
でも任せた。期待してるわ。
He's a big idiot hero. Whichever one it is, I'm counting on you. Don't let me down. She had wanted to say that she believed in him, but apparently that was too embarrassing for her. Alec turned away from Soju and began to run. She had begun to think that maybe this change of pace was not so bad after all. And so ended the intermission. The young cast members were handed the new lines. Whatever happened next, the Night of Witches had at long last entered its climax.
別行動あの二人が
They split up? You sure? She was filled with foreboding at the Robin's report. Apparently they had gone opposite directions. The park's residents had set off after the boy witness, and it would take them a mere minutes to capture him, so the bird said.
どういうこと？追いかけているのは本当に彼？青子が変装しているのではなく。
What do you mean? Is it actually him they're following, not Aoko in disguise? The Robin flapped his wings, chirping away any doubt. It had seen him with her own two eyes. Aoko was heading for the plaza while the cocky brat was making a run for the roller coaster.
青子が彼を見捨てた？
You saying that Aoko abandoned him?
そんな簡単なことならいいけど。
It sounds a little too good to be true.
ダンプティは彼に張り付いているの？
Is Dumpty still on his tail? Robin nodded enthusiastically. It didn't know about the other birds, but with its superior night vision it had seen its sucker clearly because it had moved to a high point.
ダンプティはなんて？
And Dumpty?
最後まで歌わせろ。こんな褒め殺したい間抜けはまたとない。ですって。
I really wish I had a Dumpty emote for every Dumpty that gets mentioned. He said to let him sing to the very end, and he may never get a chance again to do for a fool his asinine. Just that act bothers me, like the text is on it is weirdly mirrored. Scratch Dumpty was a ticking time bomb that would drop and detonate the moment his target averted its gaze. That is, as long as the target continued to observe him in a way that was a gentlemanly boy rickshaw. Though I always wished it would forgo such niceties when in battle.
そうね。視線を切らないだけではダンプティからは逃
Not
げら
looking
れ
for
ない
bomb, is it?
表面の死が完成すれば扉が開く
Let him have his fun. Keeping an eye on Dumpty won't save the boy anyway. Once the Poemon service is complete, the door will open.
彼がどこまで逃げようとあと少しでダンプティが閉まってくれるわ
No matter how far he runs, Dumpty will end him for us. Until the park, or rather the Snark, was destroyed, Soju would not be able to escape. Which meant a larger concern was Aoko. Aoko had promised to protect the boy, which begged the question, why was she running to?
ここにいる限り青子の動向はつかめない
As long as we stay here, we can't track Aoko. Alice looked out over the park, ignoring the robot's attempt to get her attention with his plumage. She's going to her, isn't she? Flat Snark had nearly reached its full size. It was a different breed of beast compared to the other cheap toys. To her, it was one of the three most irreplaceable and precious familiars.
そうね
That bird better be number one irreplaceable
Snark.
minion, by the way.
青子が諦めない以上あなたも手は抜かないで
Yes, she's all yours, Snark. Don't hold back until Aoka's brought to her knees. Alice remained where she was. With the same historical merit as the troll under the bridge and the poison-clawed reptile, Flat Snark was one of Alice's ultimate ploys. She was placing her trust in her reputation and ability.
でも忘れないでこれはゲームよ
But don't forget, this is a game.
勝敗がついたのなら私のところに帰ってきて
When the contest is over, return to me. The drifting fog ignored the master's words. It was the one thing that Alice has misread. Flessenark was a king, even among other ploys of terrible vulgar antics. Death to defeated, gruesome tragedy to the vanquished. It found no pleasure unless it brought out a dramatic ruination of life and wealth. The fog billowed like a wicked laughter. After all, only a king had the right to decide the fate of the vanquished, and the Snark's greed could not be contained. Thus, it hadn't even the slightest intent to play fair, despite that master's orders. Over 100 feet high. One careful step at a time, the figure made its way gingerly up the track which stretched into the heart of the amusement park. He stayed his beating chest and the pounding of his breath. Even tiny movements were an obstacle to his progress. I would just climb on a roller coaster, but sure. Amazingly, the one making this pale face's advance higher and higher was Sojiro Suzuki. Far below he saw a horde of red creatures had congregated by the roller coaster platform. As they bustles away in death, the numbers continued to increase by the minute, seemingly cheering on Sojiro with raised arm as he made his ascent. Or rather, they cheered as if in beckoning to come down.
助かった。あれ、高いところは苦手なんだ。
Well, at least they don't like heights. Of course, neither did Sojiro, but his current state was the lesser of two evils. The only thing that followed him now is the floating egg. After heaving a huge sigh, Sojiro bent forward a bit and climbed the track that inclined forward towards the heavens. 150 feet now. If this were a skyscraper, he would be on the 16th floor. A strong gust of wind whipped through his hair. Humans has an instinctual fear of heights. In particular, a place like this, which called forth visions of falling to one's death, would cause a person's knees to tremble against their will. It was an instinct that forewarned death, urging its master to return to the safety on the ground. It was a reasonable reaction. Climbing the roller coaster tracks went beyond funny stories into the realm of fantasy. Strong winds and the change in air pressure were a hindrance. His instincts screamed at him to stop, causing his limbs to go numb, his muscles to go limp, and his mind to race. Even if he had been tied to a lifeline, a mere 15 feet of climbing would still have caused his thoughts to freeze out of sheer terror. And it would only get worse from here, exponentially so. Every foot towards increased the load of both his mind and his body by another degree.
よし。
I wouldn't really climb on a rusted roller coaster track either. Doesn't sound like a good idea. I can do this, just a little bit more to the top. The burden on his mind notwithstanding, he carefully measured the toll on his body with every step. His legs, which had carried him for running this far, threatened to buckle on the moment he let down his guard. This fatigue was likely why Aoka stressed that Sojiro's role was more dangerous than hers.
待てよ。逆を言うと、 疲れてなければなんとかなると思ってたんだよな。
Wait, would Ozaki have been so worried if I wasn't so tired? Sojiro laughed as he started the floating egg. He reflected on the cause of the events that had led to this absurd situation. Not even 10 minutes ago they had been engaged in conversation.
じゃあ次ね。正体が分かった以上、あとはどう壊すかを話し合いましょう。
Okay, since we know what form it has taken, we need to talk about how we're going to destroy it. Sojiro felt a shudder travel down his spine at Oko's smirk grin. In hindsight, Oko has been more happy at this point to make him do something absurd.
どう壊すかって、それなら
How are we going to destroy it? Can't you just... Sojiro wondered aloud. From what he had seen, Oko had enough firepower to tear clean through the fence. He'd refrained from speculating about Flat Snark's true form because he felt there was nothing they could do about it, even if they knew. But that had changed. For Oko, the impossible was quite literally within her grasp.
そうでもないわ。私の目算だと、あと50メートル分、ギリギリで届かない。
It won't be that easy. By my estimate, I wouldn't get within 150 feet of the thing. Despair filled Sojiro's eyes. Oko lifted a hand to her long hair and magically charged fingertip, clipped the clean tuft of it.
足りない分は努力と根性ってね。
But we can make up the difference with some elbow grease.
あなたはできるだけ高いところまで逃げて。頃合いを見て合図を出すから。そうしたらこれを空に放ってくれる？
Get to the highest place you can. When the time
それだけでいいから。
And when the time is right, I'll give you a sign. Just toss this into the air, that's all you need to do. But based on where Oko pointed her gaze, she did not mean to leave it up to Sojiro to pick the highest place he could find. She was staring conspicuously at one of the amusement park's two main attractions, the roller coaster.
つまり、青崎とは別行動をとって、あの怪物たちに追われながら、高いところに逃げ込めと。
So, in other words, you're saying we split up and then you want me to run away from the monsters chasing me and escape to somewhere high, right?
そういうこと。
Smug.
ほら、あのうねうね動き出してるコースターのレールとか、よくない？
Exactly, and hey, wouldn't you know it, the tracks of that running roller coaster are perfect. There were two demons in this park. Her smile made even Sojiro want to respond like it was far from perfect.
疑いたくはないんだが、
Far be it for me to question your motives there, but...
本当はあの子とグルで、俺を遠回しに殺そうとしてるんじゃないか。
You're not secretly working with that girl to kill me here, are you?
あら、私に殺されるのならいいんでしょ？
No, now, wasn't it you who said it was okay if I was the one who killed you?
人の出現を悪用するのは良くないと思う。
It's not nice to twist in other people's words. Sojiro hung his head. This was not sane. If he did as she said, he would die from exhaustion before Ketsu even had a chance to eat him.
私だって鬼じゃないわ。ほら、こっち向いて。
I'm not a monster. Hey, look at me.
おまじないかけてあげる。
I'll cast a charm on you. Hmm? It was the lightest of touches. Close enough for the breath and skin to come in contact.
Oh.
Zaki finished with a hushed breath. For one of them, this was a rather mundane magecraft. For the other, it was a head-spinning intimate ambush.
軽く、弱く、うまく、早く。
The weight of the air, the tremble of one's breast.
チクタクチクタク。急げや急げ。
Light lags behind while shadows spill ahead. Words that could not be produced by a normal larynx, carrying peculiar weight to them, reverberated against his eardrums. If words were given colours, these would have been the colour of her name, blue. Sojiro's exhausted body and burning blood gently cool.
飛ぶ、泳ぐ、駆け抜ける。
A bird in the sky, a fish in the sea, you in the
チ
distance.
クタクチクタク。汽笛を鳴らせ。
Stuff doubt and anxiety in a sack. Begin the journey at dawn.
星はいつでも北の空。どこまでも、いつまでも。
A shining star falls into your heart. Also, I'm not really sure which line I should be reading here, but just go with the big ones. In reality, it took a few seconds, but a sudden contact that felt a little longer.
よし、暗示成功。成功したはず。ここまで手応えがあったの初めてだし。
Mesmerized successful. I think. This is the first time I've actually felt a take.
アリスの小言もたまには役に立つじゃない。
I guess all those lectures from Alice paid off. A very merry Oko stood aside a very confused Sojiro. After he asked what the heck had occurred, she responded.
簡単な暗示よ。一時的に恐怖心を消しておいたから、高いところに登っても平気なはず。
It's an elementary suggestion. I temporarily erased your sense of fear so you should be able to climb up there, no problem.
あの手の作業で一番足を引っ張るのは動揺でしょ？
The biggest thing standing in your way is your nerves, right?
恐怖も何も感じなければ、地上何メートルだろうと平均台とそう変わらないってわけ。
If you don't feel fear, then no matter how high you climb, it's no different from walking a balance beam. You seem to get it. It actually all sounded like Greek to Sojiro, but he accepted it as an explanation for his strange actions. I could use a spell like that. Well, being afraid of heights.
やっと着いた。
Ah, finally I made it. He arrived at the summit of the track. From nearly 200 feet high, Sojiro had a bird's-eye view of the entire amusement park. He was able to spot Oroko's figure right away. In the plaza not so far from here, she seemed to be occupied with something auspicious. Her surroundings lay still. The breadmen were busy trying to figure out how to reach Sojiro by the trail and arrow from the roller coaster's entrance. They were over 300 feet away now.
汗をかくはずだ。こんなに移動したのか。
No wonder I'm drenched in sweat. Look at how much ground I've covered. The strong winter gales quickly dried the sweat on his brow, but he was drenched underneath his shirt. This much stretch was at least worth half a mile run, not to mention all the scars he had from the scars he had to experience throughout the night.
でもよかった。あとは合図を待つだけだ。
Okay, now all I have to do is wait for the signal. He felt a wave of relief, but not at the thought of Ogre destroying the snug in his nightmarish park. He was simply happy that he could repay a bit of the debts from the House of Mirrors. A blue bullet rose from the plaza where Oko was
合
located.
図だ。
That's the signal. Sojiro stood up at the top of the tracks, pulled out a pouch it stowed in his pocket and tossed it forward. Without any regard for his questionable footing, he gave it a mighty overhand pitch. The small pouch drew a parabolic curve in Oko's direction, quickly becoming untied in mid-air. Inside the bag was a lock of her hair and a small stone weight.
高いところから風に乗せてくれれば、あとは何とかするから。
Just throw it with the wind from somewhere up high and it'll take form from there. I'll take it from there. Oko had said, but it was Sojiro's effort that set the plan in motion. The tufts of hair remained airborne, drifting as if watching over its owner. Sojiro's job was done. He remained concerned about the egg hovering over him, but there was nothing he could do about it. Sojiro breathed a sigh of relief and leaned forward to watch the rest of the plan unfold, but then...
むむ。
The corner of his eye, he thought he spotted something familiar approaching Oko. Something familiar? Hmm?
ルートセット。ディレクト1層2層予備に3層。
Direct current crest, first layer, second layer, third layer reserved.
魔力提供体現に固定。
Magical energy supply fixed to the greater source.
循環よし射角よし術式安定大まかよし。
Flow check, angle check, formula stability, good enough. A pattern began to carve itself into the big street. The casting of an unprecedented incantation with unprecedented rage. Keeping the rising tension contained within her chest, the fledgling mage snapped her fingers.
決めた。ツアープランスターマイン。
Done. Bullet configuration, convergent launch. She kneeled at the center of the formula and raised her head in the night sky. Not even a glimpse of the transmogrified fantasy land around her had entered her vision now. Only one untouchable thing was reflected in the blue eyes.
実はずっと気になっていたことが。
So this has been on my mind for a while now. This is how the conversation started a few minutes prior. Sojiro began with a simple statement of fact. In truth, it really was the simplest of discrepancies. Any difference between the reality of an hour ago and the illusion of the present was both infinitesimal and infinitesimal. Infinitesimal and infinite.
雲があったから勘違いしたんだろうけど
I thought that maybe I didn't know what I was looking at because of the clouds. It was hiding in plain sight. Too impossible to be real, too outlandish to be here. This amusement park where every paragram has shifted. Something was presently flaunting its normalcy. The
今
moon?
夜は新月なんだ青崎
Tonight is supposed to be a new moon, Aozaki. Moon's
思
haunted.
えば初めっからその形だったものね、あんたは。
Yeah, come to think of it, that's actually what you started as. The distance from the Earth to the Moon was roughly 238,900 miles. It really was identical to the actual Moon. If it really was identical to the actual Moon, then this monster indeed lived up to its airy reputation. At a distance that fast, there would have been no need to hide. It could flaunt its true form for all to see. But if it had to hide its true form, that meant that it was vulnerable. The monster's camouflage implied that it sat within the reach of human hands.
こっちの最大射程はよくて600ってところだけど。
At best, my max range is 650 yards or so. At this point, it was time to give it all she had. Drawing on the energy surging throughout the park, she extended her firing arm. Well, time to blow the moon up again. A blue firework launched into the air. Looking up at her hand dancing in the wind above, Aoko reached out her right hand as if to catch the night sky. A mage her own body made for the perfect catalyst. And for a female mage, the hair she had grown out over many years made for a particularly valuable and powerful source of fuel. To use it, all she had to do was apply her will. She locked the fingers on both her hands together and shouted.
三層展開全術式連結起動
Deploy third layer, all formula commence link activation. She rolled forth a clear challenge to bind the moon to herself. Well, last time the moon got blown up, it was a rat moon, sure. The mist began to roll about in a vortex. The monster high above bore its fingers to the side of the blue spell that appeared mid-air.
見抜かれた
Did you figure it out? But at that time, Alice had noticed the change, the hostility between Aoko and Snark was palpable.
そうなら青子の勝ちよすぐに戻りなさい
Very well, this round goes to Aoko. Return immediately.
確かに雨雲を消したのはヒントが上げすぎだけどそれぐらいは多めに見てスナック
Perhaps removing the rain clouds was too obvious of a hint, but I suppose one can win the flat Snark. The fog continued to thicken with no sign of abating. The moon had floated in the night sky could not pardon such an insolent mage. As if the Lord of the Night would bow down to such impudence, there was no saying his wrath if the challenge were flagrant.
スナック
Snark. Robin swooped in to give his report, but Alice waved it away. Her gaze was fixed on the most forming golden moon. That ain't cold. It's green. Her calls of restraint did not reach it. This fairy tale monster was born to nobody, and it would have no qualms unleashing its vast might upon its puny prey. The core of a magic bullet howls. The magic circuits within her body spun. Aoko fed the magical energy, scorching her nerves with imaginary flame. She was linked to the formula inscribed on the ground. The spell was read and executed the same as it always was, but its output was beyond reckoning. With this much firepower, even this mundane process would invite injury upon its caster. It was enough to burn up the nerves that were acting as a barrel.
でもいける
I can do this. The imaginary heat had reached terrifying temperature. Aoko trembled at this endless feeling, but would have to grin and bear it as Lisa Raffles came to naught. Aoko could no longer move. When she had learned the Snark's true form from Sojo, she gave up on any superiority a movable turret offered, instead opting to become a stationary cannon. It was the only way she could reach it. It was impossible to hunt the Snark unless she anchored across the location and angle. At the same time, his action revealed that she was out of options. Once the fuse was lit, she would have no choice but to fight it to the bitter end. Aoko took a deep breath. This was the way she wanted it. Her preparations were complete. She would be able to deliver this maelstrom of magical energy directly to the moon, like a rocket payload. The third mid-air layer served as a cannon's muzzle inside, as it would fire the magical energy once it had reached criticality? And it allowed Aoko to adjust the angle of fire. Fog. The moon became dwarfed in the scope. As Aoko charged her magical energy, deployed his plate as golden form as if to mock her. Come, worship the heavens, powerless sign of an innocent bloodline. For there it was, a point among the otherworldly sky, a mystical visage obfuscated by jade mist and azure clouds. Called the greatest treasure known to the world of magecraft, a rarity more valuable than the entire kingdom, Crown Phantasm. That's it, that's Flat Set apart from the first, the world's greatest fabrication. Not yet, just need a little bit more time. Her instinct screamed at her to delay no further. This fairy tale monster was the greatest of its kind, and was about to expose its true form. His open hostility made it clear that it was ready to counterattack. I can't move, not with an incantation this long. If it attacks before me, it's all over. Set to shoot it down first. Magical energy was at 80%, the formula was operating normally. All that was left was to pull the trigger, but... The calm voice inside of her head asked if it was really okay. If she had one shot at this, and if there was no going back, if it was a battle of precision with no room for miscalculations, even at a tenth of a second of hesitation would tip the scales. Was she ready for the pain? Was she ready to deal with the fall that she missed? Or if she missed? Could she really even take down the moon with such a tiny bolt in the first place? Enough. Shoot first, ask questions later. Her eyes fixed upon the moon were filled with determination. She knew at the moment that she fired, the intense recoil would overwhelm her entire body. Still, she shouted. Bring it on! I'm going to send this thing spinning with all I've got. With every ounce of spirit she possessed, she fired her ultra-long-range projectile into the sky. The almost going to set her back for the rest of the story, isn't it? The third layer embraced the magic bullets fired from the surface of the earth. The crest, an extension of Aoko's self, unleashed light to pierce the moon. However, an enormous blue canopy pulverized the beam. It returned to ether, the 3000 degree flame, to nothing as it came in contact with the bullet. Yeah, she's not going to be using the bomb for the rest of the story, is she? The recoil of the Grand Magecraft literally boiled up blood. Her body couldn't handle it. Her heart stopped. Her brain went numb from the pain and impact. Her nerves petrified from end to end. But the magic quest revived them all by force. Ice? It was blocked by ice. Even though her vision had gone wide, she could still see it. Swallowing the blood in her mouth, Aoko looked up at the skull. There it was. An enormous shield of ice and a snaring deformed skull. Did I fire too late? Did I fire too early? Should have shot it before it made its shield. Was I too reckless to shoot it at all? Who cares? First layer, second layer, reactivate, hurry! There was no time to think or hesitate. The magical energy throughout the park began to gather. Aoko knelt across the tyrannical face of the moon. She initiated that the ice had still yet to fully form. That Snark still hadn't reached full strength. Which was exactly why. Let me do it again. Oh, damn it. By accelerating the spell, Aoko damaged her own body. The burden of linking the formula to the Snark caused immense pain. All she could do was grit her teeth and endure it. All because... the dice is tougher than my best shot. Aoko had gotten a read on the relative strengths. Even if its volume of magical energy was identical, the Snark's form, its mystic scale, was in a different league. Aoko could charge her energy to her absolute limit, and it would barely make a dent in the ice wall. Meanwhile, there was nothing she could do to prevent her own annihilation if the Snark added as much energy as it could. Then, before that happens, she loaded the next shot. She issued orders to the floating third layer. Ignoring the toll on her body, she began to accelerate the first layer formula. The role of her right-hand single layer was to absorb and store surrounding magical energy. The fake fog that drifted through the park was an ancient ether spewed out by Flat Snark's own body, but Aoko could pour it into a formula. Aoko's body, which had been integrated with the formula, took an amount of magical energy that passed past its maximum capacity. It seethed in agony. Or rather, it trembled in delight. For a mage, magical energy was a propellant to reach the realm of mystics. The expansion of internal time. The liquefaction of the self. The release from the physical. They were all what one might call a near-death experience. On the precipice of what lay beyond, Aoko stood firm and faced reality. Still, reality had come to break her will. The gap between them was plain to any observer. The gun barrel named Aoko Aozaki had no chance to chip away but a lump of ice. She accelerated the spell further. The skull grinned. The ice was no shield. It was a hammer to crush mages who did not know their place. The moon laughed as it prepared to crush not just Aoko, but the boy atop the roller coaster as well as Spark in its entirety. So what if it hurts? The circus was on the verge of going critical. Her body had been charged with a scorching power supply from her fingertips to her eyeballs. She would see the bullet fired. She would arrange to make her formula as quickly as the nerve's transmission speed will allow. A single attack was not enough. There was no way to shoot it from its flank. Which meant there was only one solution. Reconnecting to alternating current, the third layer began to transform. It switched from a direct to alternating current. The spell's supposed strong point was the ability to adjust its trajectory mid-flight, but right now all she wanted was numbers. I'll lay his max rotation. A blue sun shined upon the amusement park. Beams of light at maximum output streaked forth to reach the golden moon. Take this. Holding down the triggers, you continue to fire, taking in energy at infinitum. Blue flame shot forth at critical level, but the ice would neither melt nor mar. No amount of sheer heat could take a dent from something formed such a colossal amount of magical energy. The dullness circle sent him berserk, and her blood began to run free. This pitch should be more than enough. He's just as strong. The battle had become a tussle over the magical energy that filled the park. From the very beginning it had been the Snark's home turf. The Snark had control over at least 80% of the space, while Oko had 20 at best. No, I can't stop it. The Castle of Ice descended as if to call the match. All she could do was delay the inevitable. She knew that she'd been backed into a wall, and right now the only thing she could do was to keep firing. Then again, perhaps not. There was another option. If she converted all of her magical energy into a defense, there was a tiny chance, no, not tiny, a great possibility in fact that you could just save just her. Shut up and do it already. Not even the dice has a chance against all the magical energy here. Clinging to that broken hope, I hope continued to rotate the circuits. Time seemed to stop at the magical energy overdose. The second of intense pain lasted an eternity. Then amidst everything... Huh? Something approached one step at a time. Something from among the park's shadows. Something... Wait, she felt goosebumps from head to toe. There she was no longer the eyes overhead. In the midst of this stillness, the Red Death drew closer, step by ominous step. Why here? Why now? Her circuits in her mind began to rupture out of terror. The composition of her formula and soul began to rip apart. There it was, just behind her. Its footsteps came to a halt. It reached around and cupped her face in blood-stained hands. Greetings. She wanted to scream with all her might. This is it, nothing matters, I couldn't care less. Run or don't run, it doesn't matter. Quit hiding and reveal yourself. Use whatever you can and show no mercy. And that was it. She had one final card to play. Once a miracle had been gifted to her, almost as a joke. It made the ice look like child's play. That was what the Red Death had to come to kill. Using it would spell a ruin. Not using it would mean death by ice. Then why hesitate? There were no conditions on its use. There was no price to pay for its power. She simply would cease to be herself. That was all. Humans love to exist in areas of grey. Dozens of electrical impulses disconnected in the brain every minute. Nothing lasts forever, not even oneself. It was not anything particularly worthy of disdain. It was not even anything remarkably worthy of being called taboo. Shut up. What escaped her lips now was rage, bewilderment from the red silhouette. The girl let out an inaudible scream. Could true magic really be a savior? What an opportunistic load of bull. After all, to begin with. True magic truly is that easy to access. I have no clue how to do that shit yet. Indeed, Oko was still in the dark when it came to dead magic, whatever it was. It's a big block of ice. I'm such a moron. She woke up from a momentary hallucination. The very illusion of her breaking her soul had shown her. Winding had the opposite effect on her. Her pride was now ablaze. So you're going to run from this responsibility too? Sojo was right. Her opponent had put her in check, but she had done the same to it. It was clear that Raishi was losing, so now all she needed was a counterplan, well within her abilities. No matter the odds, she was not able to give up without giving one last shot. That's right. Giving up only comes after you tried absolutely everything. Her numbed fingers clenched into a tight fist. She was betting against the house, an unreasonable gamble that should have made her question her sanity. If a step was off by an inch, her body would be instantly vaporized. But she knew her boy would never fled. She knew of a steadfast courage that would shine its light, no matter how small, through any desperate situation. Through any desperate situation. Yes, there was more to herself. There was more than just herself to be concerned about. If that ice fell, it would mean the destruction of the park in its entirety. Everything he had achieved, everything he had twisted and dared happily put his life on the line for, all would be for naught.
本当
Really?
それじゃあ何のために意地を張ったかわからない。
What possessed him to be so bullheaded? Determination and confidence surged through her like electricity. She was in no mood to be crushed by a giant sheet of ice. If she was going to lose, she'd rather do it as the grandest firework possible. Aoko was a sore loser. At this point, she would rather burn herself to cinders than let it decide her end.
チェンジチェンジチェンジ
Disconnect, expand area, reconnect. She grunted in pain. Energy raged throughout her body. The circuits were on the verge of disintegration. Described upon her body, a magic vessel's magecraft given physical form. It did not, however, stop at simply skin and flesh. It burrowed into the very marrow of her bones. A playful smile graced her lips. A sense of reason had been turned upside down by the pain. It was only natural.
あんたやればできるじゃない私、
I can do this. She had to praise her own body for holding out for as long as she pushed beyond its limit. The skull face noticed the abnormality. It finally recognized the challenge for dominance over its space. It laughed at the conceited face. Never did it expect a magician to challenge the great Flat Snark, lord of vessels over a millennium in such an age of decline. She tried to catch her breath. She braced herself for the coming pain. She was going to smash the ice to pieces. Both had access to the same amount of magical energy. None of them was greatly outmatched, but
出力装置に差があった。魔力の吸引方針の規模で負けているのなら
there was a difference in output. If I'm losing because of the scale of energy absorption and the size of the barrel, then
単純な話、私をでかくするだけでいい。
the solution is simple. All I need to do is make the formula bigger, and me with it.
チェンジツアープラン
Reconnect build configuration. The feedback would go beyond anything she'd experienced to date. Quite simply, her decision went beyond recklessness. She expanded both formula to maximum size. The first layer would transform into a giant vortex swallowing up the mist. The second layer would process it from one end and pump it into her, the barrel.
私の想定が甘かった。
I was naive,
撃ち落とすなんて半端もいいとこ。
thinking I could do something cute like shoot it
こ
down.
の場合、跡形もなく打ち砕く。
What I need to do is blast it to hell. From evil power answered the spellcaster's conviction. It formed the pattern of a rotting serpent. Poison's magical power flew into a banner of revolution. Now look upon the earth, O vulnerable one. See now this pioneer, first among the trailblazers. She embodies a species that knows no fear, that renders not all but manner of mystic and tradition.
貸し借りはここまでよ。嘘つきブージャム。
I'm done borrowing from you, you lying boojum.
お望み通り、のしをつけて返してあげる。
If you really want it, I'm more than happy to give it all back. The newest magician commands the principles of consumption and extinction. A never-ending bond of light melted through the castle of ice. The barrel held fast. The control of magical energy was divine. 100,000 miles of veins, equally to 2.5 times the circumference of the Earth, hungrily drank it in magical energy. The subsequent magical strike hurled straight toward the moon. Definitely gonna feel that in the morning. No. Death rose from the moon's surface. A cry of indignant terror echoed throughout the abandoned park. Reality was burned into the eye of this creature's fantasy. To Aoko, his vain struggle was a taste of victory. Victory despite her absolute and reckless use of magical energy. The energy skills had been tipped to the breaking point, but nevertheless in her favor.
ツアープラン
Build configuration.
ブラックライトスターボ
Total eclipse. Converge.
一気に
Count a new one. Shatter. The skyscape is shredded into atomized dust. The island, it is unattainably extolled, had swallowed whole despair of many challenges. Long had it proudly eluded mankind's intellect. Yet now a sure mist bemoaned its demise. In the sky the icy canopy crumbled. The snark-hunting bullet jumped over the moon. Its throes of death sounded like the roaring sea, reverberating across this fairy tale land. The battle was over. The thick fog dissipated and the shattered ice melted away before it hit the ground. A lethal bullet unseated the Night King from his throne, affording him at no time to grieve his loss. The oil of the moon, the untouched flat snark. The dreamscape that had begun with his resurrection ended with his demise, drawing him closer to the nightmare. Oh man, I guess I kind of went overboard. Flat on her back, Aoko looked up at the night sky. She lay there perfectly still, being not able to move a single finger. When she tried, her whole body screamed out in agony. She was completely empty of magical energy, and the magical crust had come to a halt. She estimated that it would likely require a whole day to recover all of her bodily functions. Sadly, all she could do in that moment was take a breath. At least her chest was swelling with pride. She had gone toe-to-toe with the fairy tale monster that had emerged victorious. The battlefield conditions had favoured her, it was true, but there was no denying that Aoko had come a long way in the last 6 months.
それはそれとしてアリスには謝っとかないと
Luck or not, I owe Alice an apology.
プロイって壊したらそれっきりだものね
Once the ploy has been broken, it's gone forever. Flat Snark would never again return to this world. It was an insanely rare item, so valuable that it would have been impossible to price for an auction at the Association in London. Aoko had sent Alice's priceless treasure to oblivion. Needless to say, things had gotten more than a little out of hand.
まあでも
Still, the F-word agreed to the fight, so Alice probably wouldn't complain. Even if she was furious, she would never be so undignified as to show it. Yeah. The second Aoko relaxed, her fatigue finally caught up with her. She did everything in her power to fight off the overwhelming drowsiness. Aside from a few minor internal injuries, her body was miraculously unscathed. She felt like she could probably stand up and dust herself off after a bit of rest. The golden moon continued to burn in the night sky.
正体は油だものねそりゃいつまでも燃え
Well, you are oil after all. You could probably burn for... Aoko's bleary eyes went wide in astonishment. She was still unable to lift a finger.
スナークを見つけたベイカーも最後は一緒に消えるんだっけ
Oh right, the baker who found the snark disappeared along with it. She sighed in resignation. Aoko accepted that the final stand left her with only 10 seconds before she burned to ash too. I need to sneeze. Soon. Yeah. Also, just a moment prior, offended by strong winds atop the roller coaster, Soju gravely peered down at the ground.
むむ
Hmm? All I could muster was a single murmur. He could see Oko on top of some drying on the ground and...
なんだあれいくらなんでも頑丈すぎないか
What in the world is the thing made of? In the distance, there was something familiar in the direction of the ruined House of Mirrors. Soju's job to throw Oko's head from great height was complete. While not the most impressive of tasks, it was absolutely a matter of life or death. Oh, thank you. And to top it all off, just thinking about how I was going to get back down to the ground was making him dizzy. He had experienced more than enough trouble for one day.
いやでも
Wait, but... He was flustered as he stood atop the swaying bridge. A skull suddenly appeared in the sky above. On the ground you could see a circling blue light with Aoko Ozaki in the middle of it. And one more thing. From an angle that only Soju could see, a shadow stalked Aoko while it was challenged the moon. It was shaped like a person, missing the lower half of its body. The disembodied torso slowly clawed its way towards Aoko. They were still over 600 feet apart. But fortunately for Aoko, she completely failed to notice it approaching from behind.
遠くて見えないけどあれは
It's too far away to make it out, but isn't that? You were sure of what it was now. There was only one thing in the park that would chase Aoko and not him. The puppet.
いやでもほらあるいはひょっとしてただの偶然ではないだろうか
But, I mean, maybe. It's a coincidence, right? His mind ran in circles. It was a perfectly reasonable reaction. Any grip of reality might have had left was long lost when Aoko started firing beams of light at the monstrous moon. Well, Aoko's mercilessly fire befriended the roller coaster like a storm. Just standing on it was enough to be thrown off. Just standing on it was almost enough for him to be thrown off and killed. At any rate, Sojo couldn't fathom the situation. Should he head back to the entrance of the roller coaster and warn Aoko about the incoming threat? No, there was no way of making him time. And to make matters worse, there was a horde of rat down there waiting for him. It may have very well been the case that Aoko was already aware of the puppet and would take it out as soon as it got closer. If she was, Sojo was pretty sure he would only been away. But it didn't seem there was anything he could do to help. And beyond that, Aoko was not the only one in danger. He was in quite a predicament himself. He can't go home again. The road home was never as safe as one thought. It was true as areas had been in the mountains. The path he was on was no exception. As risky as the ascent has been, it was even more dangerous to go back down. This was no time to be worrying about others. His shaking legs reminded him that only 200 feet separated him from death.
大丈夫それは分かっている
I'll be fine, I know that, just... His head was pounding. This was reckless and stupid. Having been raised in the mountains, he was more sensitive to danger than anyone raised in the city, and just thinking about what he was about to do made his throat seize up. There was only one thing he could do for sure. Well, one thing he could say for sure.
青崎のことだあれに絶対気づいていない
Aozaki has no idea that the thing is coming for her. What is this? Amiya starts playing? With a sobbing shout, Soju started making his way down the 200-foot frame of a roller coaster. His rate of death accelerated. He never meant to speed up, but the downward slope propelled him forward. Just why is the music going so white now all of a sudden? Excuse me? Here we go. It was too late for regrets. Now that he was running, he had no choice but to go even faster. And time was not on his side. He would never make it in time if he took a long way down. Never mind the Bratman caught in the exit of the roller coaster. With the exits blocked, the outcome would be the same whether he went slowly or quickly. There was no reason to rush to his death and desperately as he did.
だから
So what? So what if it was futile? Sojiro cleared the doubts from his mind. He turned his attention to what he could do, keep his footing and tried to arrive at the bullet as quickly as he could.
間違えるな。今大事なのは間に合うとか助けられるとかそういう結果の話じゃなくて。
Focus. Forget whether you'll beat him in time to save her. The most important thing is, he had no idea what impulses were driving his stiff limbs. He just focused on the moment, pushing past the fear and occult logic. At his core, he was the kind of person to deal with problems head on. There would be time to think about the consequences later. But his hesitation was not his only obstacle.
こんな時に
Not now. The worst possible hindrance had appeared at the time of focusing on the track when certain death. Well, not focusing on the track when certain death. Sojiro sensed something wrong with Yagi being so seriously observing out of one eye. Something had changed. At the very moment he realized it.
よそ見してる場合じゃない。
Look, can't be looking to the side right now. Sojiro stumbled when he instinctively forgot himself. It was a miracle that he had not fallen. Descending a roller coaster on foot was an act of suicide. The axe stayed right by his side, so close that it was like it would collide with him. Though he was trying not to look at it, he could not help but feel uneasy at the door-like decoration at the center of it that was gradually opening.
ああもうちくしょう。なんだってこんな。
Damn it, why now? Because of his rotten situation, and yet he refused to slow down. He ran even faster, glaring at Yag on his side.
本当おかしい。
Oh, this is crazy.
こんな状況なのに。なんで
What's wrong with me? Sojiro was baffled to find that he was smiling. Perhaps it had something to do with Aoko's charm. Sojiro could not tell one way or another. He could still feel Aoko's fingers on his skin. The trust and expectation she had placed in him was etched into his heart. But what spurred him on was something entirely different. This all stemmed from a much deeper problem. It was something inside him that he could not understand at the time, but would eventually come to terms with one day.
よし。距離は今なら2メートル弱。
Alright, less than 5 feet left. He carefully judged the distance as he ran down the track of death. But the distance between what? That went without saying. The distance between himself and the one thing that could save his life. Just gonna jump in the eye. He told himself he was going to do it over and over like a mantra. Sojiro could not believe himself. What he was about to do was incredibly stupid. But what is stupid when smart is not an option?
本当なんでそこまでやるんだ。
Am I really going to do this? This is insane. Amidst of it all, he laughed at the pointless his self-reflection was now. Temporary confusion, a psychological thrill life, both had laid his soul bare. What really mattered in life? The answer to that question was simple. His primitive values did not crave success or reward. All he wanted was,
よし。
this is it, to live the way he wanted. It wasn't an obligation to the people around him. His desire to live was his and his alone.
行こ
Here we go. As if the egg had been equipped with a vocal function, if the egg would have been equipped with a vocal function, it would have gasped in shock at what happened next. The boy who had only tried to escape up until this point suddenly shifted his weight. He pointed his feet outward instead of inward. On the edge of one rail, he crouched just ever so slightly to maintain momentum and gazed at the floating egg.
う。やれる。
Hello.
距離的に問題はない。
Close enough, I can do this. Oh, nice timing. He soared through the night sky. It was a flight that lasted a minute and 1.5 seconds. A cordless bungee jump from 100 feet above ground. His destination. The only thing that would stop his fall, the giant flying egg. Egg. He shrieked, this time out of elation, as he desperately clung to the egg's surface. Just earlier. The cold-blooded witch had told him that without fear, the top of the building would feel no different than the balance beam. This from the same witch that would have been enough speeches had just witnessed this spectacle. It was one thing to be fearless and another to be reckless. What the boy did next would give her a headache the next days to come.
頼むぞ頼む。
I'm counting on you, Egg. Clinging to the egg, he shifted his gaze away from it. He felt a rapid descent. Sojiro, focusing his half-shut eyes on the ground, leaped off the egg once they were a few feet from the ground, then turned back on it, careful to re-establish eye contact. Something so unbelievable, though, to Sojiro. The elevator at the department store and the mysterious floating egg were both just moving objects, virtually indistinguishable from one another.
よし、割れてない。食べ物を粗末にするのは良くないと思う。
Alright, it didn't break. Always assume that food goes to waste. I don't think it's food. I landed near the plaza. The shortcut that almost cost him his life had paid off. Sojiro took off running the second his feet touched the ground. The puppet after Aoko was the only thing on his mind. He paid no mind to the moonlight in the sky. Naughty Egg, which was furious about being used and seconds away from self-destructing and blasting fragments all over the place. Huh? That was Aoko's dumbfounded expression that spurred Sojiro on. The curse was complete. The empty egg began to sing its raining. The empty egg began to sing its raining to let him know there was no escape. Warning. Why did I read it as raining? The empty egg began to sing its warning to let him know there was no escape. Shrapnel from the egg exploded through the air. The ode to Queen Alice that Alice had engraved into Dumpty quickly robbed him of his senses.
それはそれとして。
Okay, was that it? He snapped back to the desk again and went to Aoko, still laying on the ground. His legs moved as he had a mind of his own. Though he couldn't have stopped them anyway, since he could no longer feel them.
お前、驚くほどしつこいぞ。
Don't you puppets ever give up? I guess that's going to take care of the puppet if it takes her away. Yep. The scrambled murder case. Piles of rubble became flowers light blooming of light blooming from the earth. The final curtain drew close and the defeated left the battleground. Had Alice going to seen it happen, she would have been beside herself. The two had escaped by a hair's breadth. The only person in the position to witness all that rare mutual destruction was the girl who had been saved from it. The boy who had never stopped running paid it no mind.
死ぬかと。
So he never even noticed the shit raining down from above. Phew, I thought you were a goner. The safety of the girl in his arms meant infinitely more to him than the miraculous way in which he saved her. The moon did not wait for dawn to set. The ornamental fixtures of the fairy tale kingdom faded away. All of the illusions returned to the way they were before. From the ostentatious chords reverberating through the streets, to the puppets welcoming their guests. Peace and quiet reigned once more, and for a forgotten kingdom never to be awakened again. Out flickered the embers of the late night dream. Even the electric lamps that illuminated the park. Together they watched it disappear. Sojiro lay on the ground, desperately gasping for air like a fish out of water. The curse of the exploding egg had him this pain, and he was understandably exhausted of all he had experienced. He looked like he could be blown away by the lightest of breezes. While Aoko was also exhausted, she was still in better shape. Focused on taking deep, even breaths, she was already working to recovering her strength.
あのさ、
So... She dressed Sojiro indifferently as her gaze remained on the amusement park. The abruptness of this was a bit theatrical in nature. She wanted to look at him as she spoke, but her pride was simply too great.
あなた、なんかすごいことしなかった？
You did something kinda amazing, didn't you? Not like you didn't. The moment she had accepted death seemed like an eternity. She was beside herself in shock at how indifferent she had been as the shards rained down from the moon. But a reassuring voice had snapped her back into reality. Why did he do it? What was he thinking? What moronic things had he done to pull it off? She had no answers for these questions, laying on the ground as she was. All she knew that he was made more than made up for his failure in the House of Mirrors and then some, in his fateful final moments. She addressed him, hoping to find answers, but found herself unable to probe any further. To dig any deeper would feel like defeat, which is why someone like her to ask him in the first place. Luckily for her, Soju had neither the capacity nor sensitivity to understand how egocentric she was being.
すごいって、それは青崎の方だろ。
Amazing? You were pretty amazing, Aozaki. He stuttered between labored breaths. It was taking him so much effort just to breathe that he could not address her properly. She watched him out of the corner of her eye. Thinking back on it, the boy had performed the same role each time. Each and every time he did what he could in spite of his factlessness? Chad, what does that word mean? I've never heard of that word. It was far more admirable than her nearly suicidal tactics, even if she did defeat her opponent. He did not even recognize how extraordinary his last act of courage was.
提案、あいつをやっつけるのに協力したら、俺のことは見逃してくれる？
Here's an idea. If I help you kill that thing, will you let me go? And then they fall in love and happily ever after. I don't know. He's not getting any facts. I don't know, those two lines in chat seem to contradict one another. At the very least, he had the courage to keep trying whatever he could. I mean, not even halfway through this, so more is going to happen. A spectator might have viewed him as a supporting actor. His actions were not exactly memorable. But the lead actress he supported did not see it that way.
まあね。
Well,
認めたくないし、口になってもっとしたくないけど。
I don't really want to admit it to myself, much less say it out loud, but such inspired actions were wasted in a supporting role. This guy really pulled off the impossible. It was so amazing that she wanted to shout it as loud as she possibly could for all the world to hear.
青崎？
ほんと、人畜無害のどうすぎると侮れないわ。
God, he's so innocent it makes me want to barf. All Aoko could do was sigh. How could she not? Even she was forced to admit that the way he snatched her from the jaws of death was dashing.
評価、甘めだけど。
Now must be getting soft. True to be told, he was a lunatic for doing what he did. She studied her breathing and composed herself. While she was in a bad shape, she still had her pride as a maid to consider. That was why she felt the need to maintain an air of dignity.
しずきくん、見逃すのは今日だけって話だったけど、あれ、なしでいいわ。
Shizuki, I originally meant to let you off for today only, but I'm willing to let the whole thing
と
go.
りあえず、命は助けてあげるから。
For the time being, I've decided to let you live. She hastily extended her right hand. It was easier to shake her to help him up. However, Soju did not take her hand, but instead stood up on his own. This night, despite the sheer insanity that I had just experienced, his face had not once looked as incredulous as it did now.
何そのリアクションは。
What? Something wrong? She stammered, worried that she had deeply embarrassed herself. Soju's gaze was fixed upon Naoko. A problem had dawned on Naoko. Though she normally hated being stared at this like a time, this time she did not mind. Rather, she was enjoying the warmth of his eyes and felt like it was something she could almost come to appreciate. Uh-oh. Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship, and it didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say that Sonoji really... Oh. The conversation came rushing back. It was a memory battle I'd forgotten.
いかん、それは違う。
No, not happening. Pushing Tobimao's words out of her mind, Aoko turned to Sojiro.
それとこれは別だから。
Don't get any ideas.
私はあんたのこととか、ほんとどうでもいいんだから。
I don't care about you in the least. Puzzled Sojiro tilted his head.
さっき嫌いだって言われたけど。
You already told me how much you dislike me. He responded as a matter of fact with a sudden declaration. Tsundere. She certainly had pointed that out into his face no less. It had a mere figure of speech that was not meant to take literally, but now was the time to belabor the point.
そうじゃなくて、あなたが私に惚れてても期待しないでって言ってるの。
I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying you shouldn't get your hopes up, no matter how you've fallen for me. Yet she belabor she did anyway. Aoko blushed slightly, realizing how insane she was being. Inane she was being, not insane. She wondered how she'd ended up in this position. And yet she knew that she had to get this off her chest. All that was left was to politely wait for his response. I can date you. Such heartbreaking, painful words were too much for a simply boy to hear. His shoulders slumped as the word was coming to an end, or so Aoko had imagined. On the contrary, Soju was sitting there in deep thought.
俺が青崎に惚れてるって
Did you just say I'm in love with you? Soju murmured the words of the aromatic spell. She shot right back with the affirmative. After a moment of deep contemplation, the boy turned to an expectant girl and said,
なんで
I heard that record scratch. Why'd you think that? He had to be joking. But he was not. He was completely serious. So, he liked her, but he didn't like her. Of course, the vice president had the conclusions. This boy had no interest in romance. He probably didn't even know what it was. She was incredibly embarrassed with how confused Soju appeared to be. Her rosy complexion spread throughout her entire body.
もう一度聞くけどなんで
I'll ask again, but why do you think that?
そりゃこっちが聞きたいわよ。
That's what I want to
飛び丸
know.
の大バカ野郎。
You freaking moron, Tobimaru! Just like that, she had lost her cool and given an unjustifiable outburst. It was time to seal off the area and destroy all the evidence. Aoko's embarrassment evolved into sheer panic, and a grudge against Tobimaru suddenly manifested as criminal assault. She lashed out with a punch that could have taken down a bird mid-flight, more specifically if it was a brutal right hook. Aoko blinked, her blow had connected with something solid, snapping her out of her reverie. Her temper had lashed out into completely defensive Sojiro. It had been a splendid blow with all her weight behind it, knocking him out cold. Sojiro groaned, crumpling to the ground. Her punch finished the job that the curse started. If not for the discomfort on his face, he almost appeared to be sleeping. Aoko convinced herself that he was napping, not concussed.
いっか。予定通りになったものね。
Well, whatever. It was always going to end like this anyway. The tension in her shoulders eased as she looked down at Sojiro. Her tongue had gotten in the way over the course of the day, but the day was saved for now. With nobody left to butt heads, she felt exhaustion finally overtake her.
うわ。歩いて帰れるかな、私。
How the heck am I going to walk home like this? Her fatigue was enough to make her complain out loud. When she thought about it, she realized that it was the first time she had used up all of her magical energy, and the first time she had participated in a battle of this scale without any prior preparation. Though in truth,
私一人じゃどっちも相打ちだったっけ。
it would have ended in mutual destruction if I'd been alone. She felt somewhat proud as she whispered those words. Normally it was something that she would beat herself up over, but instead she simply shrugged her shoulders with a bitter smile. After all, it was thanks to the person sleeping by her side.
ね、
Sleeping, you
聞こえ
say?
てないわよね。
Hey, you can't hear me, can you? As if the night had swallowed her voice before it reached him, she received no response. Confident, she continued in an even quieter voice.
その、ありがとう。十分に助けてもらったわ。
So, thank you. You really got me out of a jam there. Of course, there was no response from Sojiro, and she was not expecting one. Saying it for the record was enough. Aoko watched Sojiro sleep for a while and then pull something out of her pocket. It was the palm-sized glass bowl that the woman had given her, which she opened with a
で
pop.
も、それとこれとは別だから。
But none of this matters. Leaving behind words colder than a winter chill at night, she called out his name. She barely sensed the bowl moving. As the silhouette of the fallen boy appeared to blur, she got the feeling that the weight of the bowl had increased slightly.
うわ、どうなってんだろうこれ。
Whoa, it's kinda weird. but it better be a human form could be seen inside the glass. Alice conjured still of a mystic that confounded even most knowledgeable of mages. As soon as Oka tried to analyze them with logical reason, she was already out of depth. Knowing this all too well, Oka closed the bowl and watched the boy disappear by some magic trick.
まったくこんなの手品じゃなくて魔法だって。
Jeez, this is no stage trick, this is actual magic. She muttered as she looked into the magical bowl. Its weight had not changed significantly and she had no idea how it worked, but the one thing she did know is that there was a human being inside of it. Oh no, she stole him. Its light weight was almost unnerving. Closer to the empty head than a human being. It was about as heavy as one would expect of a bowl of the summer breeze. Dude, it did fit her image of Sojiro perfectly.
アリスの言う通り。
It's just like Alice said. She muttered to no one in particular as she recalled the past.
ほんと、私らしくない。
This really isn't like me. Naoko wore a bittersweet smile, her usual moodiness was gone. It was a dangerous world out there, it was good to have someone to keep her on her toes. With her wide chuckle, she flicked a magical ball with her finger instead of walking. Don't shake the ball, you'll get a headache. She could hear a bell in the distance, signaling the end of the play. An ephemeral dream gave way to reality in the grand scheme of things. It had been but an instant. As the actors exited the stage left, the last of the lights silently flickered out, and so the long-dead amusement park played its final role as a memory for a boy and a girl. I said that today might have been shorter if the chapter wasn't as long, but no, the chapter itself ended up being 3 hours. But well, I think that's a good enough point of it to let it for today too. Like a dog, oh boy. Chapter 6 basically. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to save, I'll always save twice. Why? I don't know, I just do that. No matter how old the game is. But I'm leaving it at that for today, chat. That was a pretty long chapter again, all things considered. Definitely was good that they didn't do this last time, so that's for sure. But alright, that's going to be it for today. I might do it again on Friday, so we have like 2 chapters this week. Well, depending on how long the next chapter is, I guess. But alright. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time when I play this.